I am, yeah, I'm gutted. I'm actually gutted. All right, it is the 9 till noon show. Rory back tomorrow at 6:30. But at 9, it's time for news. And it's good morning, Donald Kavanagh.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Police in Derry remain at the scene of a security alert in the Campsie area following the discovery of a suspicious object on Clooney Road. They say the dual carriageway remains open, but the access road into the COVID test centre is closed. The HSE says hospitals are seeing a level of disruption they haven't seen before because of the current COVID surge. Over 1,600 people with the virus are currently being treated across the country. Daily case numbers remain above 10,000. But Health Minister Stephen Donnelly says the true figures are likely much higher, with hundreds of thousands getting COVID every week. The HSE's Chief Clinical Officer, Dr Colm Henry, says it's putting considerable pressure on the healthcare system and particularly hospital wards.
Certainly these numbers we're seeing a huge disruption, and many of our frontline staff are reporting a level of disruption they've never seen, and that's because many of the wards are given over to COVID-19 patients. That requires specific infection prevention and control measures, and our inability to discharge people back out into other settings greatly hampered. So we're seeing a level of disruption that we hadn't seen before.
The Stormont Assembly was officially dissolved at midnight last night. It means campaigning for May's elections will now get underway from today. It brings an end to a 5-year term which saw power sharing collapse twice, once in 2017 and again earlier this year. A new €2.8 billion auto-enrolment pension scheme is to be considered by Cabinet this morning. It'll see 750,000 people who don't currently have a pension automatically signed up for one in 2024. All workers earning over €20,000 a year will make contributions. In the first 3 years, employees will put in at least 1.5% of their salary, matched by the employer, with the state contributing 0.5%. Business correspondent Joel Allam says it'll rise in increments from there.
If, for example, in 10 years' time you earn €50,000, 6% or €3,000 will be set aside from your gross for your pension. The same 3,000 from the employers, and the state will throw in €1,000. Now, it's only for those over the age of 23 and under the age of 60, and it's going to be tiered. So it's going to start slowly and build up. So you won't suddenly lose 6% of your gross salary.
Another round of face-to-face peace talks between Russia and Ukraine is set to get underway in Turkey today. Negotiations were delayed yesterday. Today's talks will be the first to take place in a fortnight. And Irish Water is again being urged to take charge of the Puriflow system at Dromore on the outskirts of Letterkenny. It's understood when the system overflows, it runs out onto the dual carriageway. Irish Water is refusing to take it in charge, and that results in Donegal County Council having to empty it manually every month. Local councillor Jerry McMonigal says Irish Water must step up to the plate.
This again flags up the need for a proper sewage system in the Dromore area, and we've had it over this last number of years, calls from many a councillor for this to happen, but again with the ongoing works in the 4-lane, there's an opportunity there for to put in the main sewer all the way out to Dromore, which would take away from having to empty these Puriflow sites on a regular basis, so it's a no-brainer.
Mist and fog clearing away this morning. Patches may linger in coastal areas for a time. Good sunny spells developing through the morning with scattered showers in the afternoon. Highest temperatures 12 to 14 degrees Celsius in light northeasterly or variable breezes. And just to mark your card, a warning from Met Éireann that it's going to get very cold from tomorrow night, with temperatures tomorrow night set to drip to around about minus 3 degrees Celsius. We're back with news again at 10 o'clock.
Hey.
You're doing great.
Everyone needs a boost sometimes.
Is it time for yours?
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness in people who are high risk and in those who aren't.
So even if you've already had COVID-19, your booster vaccine can protect you from getting it again.
And make your symptoms less severe if you do.
Everyone aged 12 and over can now get a booster vaccine.
Check if it's time for your booster and make an appointment on hse.ie.
For us all, from the HSE.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota. Test drive Toyota's incredible self-charging hybrid range at our showroom, Port Road, Letterkenny.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. 4 minutes past 9, Tuesday the 29th of March. You're very welcome along to another edition of the 9 till noon show. I do hope you're very well indeed. We have a busy show, interesting show, I think, lined up for you. Of course, as it is a Tuesday, we will have the latest news and information, appeals and information from Garda Síochána. We're going to be looking at the issue of alopecia. Of course, we have an expert on the programme that has come to the 4 in public conversation following the events at the Oscars. So if you have any comments or questions in relation to that, you can get involved, and so much more besides. But let's crack on looking at what's making the newspapers' front pages and insides this morning. We'll start with the Donegal People's Press, and mystery surrounded the events which led to the surprise adjournment of yesterday's meeting of Donegal County Council in Letterkenny. Gardaí were called to the meeting and it was subsequently adjourned. The scheduled 11 a.m. start came and went with no sign of the physical meeting starting in the Ora Leisure Centre, Letterkenny. Cahirloch Councillor Jack Murray addressed members and the press via a Zoom call around 11:20 to say discussions had been taking place between the parties, so he was proposing to adjourn the meeting until 12:30. We are all very keen to get the business of the meeting going, but some discussions have to take place, he said. He returned just over an hour later at 12:30 to break the news that the meeting wasn't going to go ahead. Councillor Murray said that a number of very worrying incidents had taken place and that statements were being taken. It's evident to me, he said, through discussions with a number of members of staff and a number of elected reps, that people don't feel safe here today because of what has happened, he explained. Now, I think the council at this point really needs to get its act together one way or other. You know, whatever is going on, I'm sure there are ways to get it resolved. I'm sure there's ways to hold meetings. There's very important things happening in this county at the moment. There's an emergency at Letterkenny University Hospital that they should be discussing at meetings. There is the MICA crisis, of course, with people starving for information and progress and discussion and to feel like their issue is an important one, and so much more besides. And the council, it's hard to believe that they can't find a way for all that are there for that conversation to continue. If there's a fear of things not being safe, to find a way to make it safe. And I think really at this stage, you know, when was the last time there was a full council meeting that went all the way through and discussed all of these issues? I mean, what's going on? It can't be beyond, presumably, a local authority. This is not happening anywhere else in the country. I've never heard the likes of this before. Yes, maybe one meeting, two meetings, but when was the last time a full meeting was held where issues that affect us every single day was discussed, and that people who were elected to do what they have to do being seen to be doing what they're doing? And you can say it's this reason or that reason or whatever, but surely there has to be a way for these meetings to be able to be held. There has to be enough brain power there to find a way, but still not. And what happens next week or next month or the month after that? I mean, how are they going to progress with these meetings so that these important issues that we talk of all the time on this programme are being discussed by elected members at a... I'm not going to be popular for saying that, but there has to be a way. Doesn't there? I mean, it's well, with what's going on in this county, with the cost of living crisis, lack of public transport, as I say, you know, people choosing food or fuel, MICA, the hospital, everything. And as I say, how many full meetings have been held in the last 9-10 months? I don't know. 1 or 2, maybe 3. I don't know. It seems every single one of them is adjourned. I understand that members are frustrated themselves, but there has to be a way, does there not? The Derry Journal, tributes have been paid to popular priest Father Patrick Paddy O'Kane after his sudden death was announced yesterday. The death of the much-loved Donegal native was confirmed by the Derry Diocese, and it is understood he died in hospital. Father Paddy was born in Culdaff, where his father was the local postmaster. He was ordained in 1973 and served in the parishes of Moville, in St Eugene's Cathedral, Melmount, and latterly Holy Family, Ballymagorty. Next year would have marked the 50th anniversary of his ordination, and may he rest in peace. The Irish Times today tells us that Russia and Ukraine are to hold peace talks in Istanbul, but there doesn't seem to be any optimism surrounding these talks. Russia and Ukraine will hold their first peace talks in almost 3 weeks this morning in Istanbul, amid a looming humanitarian collapse in besieged Ukrainian cities. Adding tension to the intense talks are reports that attendees of previous rounds, including Ukrainian officials and Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich, suffered severe symptoms of poisoning. Yesterday, the mayor of Mariupol, the devastated port city, said at least 5,000 residents had been killed and 160,000 people remain trapped without power and with dwindling food. 6%, 5 or 6% of that 160,000, by the way, are children. So you can imagine what they're going through. 4 weeks into the conflict, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said he would drop any NATO membership ambition in favour of a neutrality, non-nuclear status. But Kiev officials, hopeful Russia has lost military momentum and is retreating, say they will make no concessions on ceding territory. The Irish Independent now tells us that several 100,000 people are being infected by COVID-19 each week, but there are no plans for restrictions to be reintroduced. That's according to the Health Minister, Stephen Donnelly. Mr Donnelly said serious measures would be needed to reduce the surge of infection and reiterated the advice from Chief Medical Officer Tony Houlihan that there is currently no need for new COVID rules. The subvariant that we're dealing with now, the BA2 variant, is very, very contagious, and the kind of measures you would need to radically reduce the spread would be really quite serious measures indeed, Mr Donnelly told a Fianna Fáil party members meeting last night. So was he saying that effectively, encouraging social distancing again in crowded areas or mandatory mask wearing, is the health minister saying, and reading between the lines, that seems to be what he's saying, that in and of itself would not be enough to reduce the spread of COVID-19. He says if we register 10 to 15,000 cases a day through PCR and antigen tests, you can be sure the actual numbers are several times that much. We are most likely looking at several 100,000 new COVID cases per week at the moment, which is a very high number, he added. Right, so as I said, reading between the lines, that seems to be what he's saying. But the hospitals, of course, are under pressure. They've got 1,600 odd people in hospital this morning. Half of those are incidental cases. Around about 800 of those are in hospital because they're sick with COVID. But the number in ICU, albeit up slightly, is still comparatively low to where we have been in the past. It's in and around the 60 people mark, and we wish them a full and speedy recovery, of course. But the health minister seems to be saying there that the reintroduction of the more basic disease control measures would not be effective enough to justify their imposition. Okay. Irish Daily Mail this morning, Roman Abramovich and Ukrainian negotiators were the victims of a suspected poisoning attack at peace talks. The Russian billionaire and owner of Chelsea Football Club, who's been acting as an unofficial broker between warring Russia and Ukraine, was said to have lost his sight for several hours after the incident. He and 2 Ukrainian delegates suffered piercing eye pain, constant streams of tears and peeling skin on their faces and hands. This is what you're dealing with. According to sources familiar with the incident, the trio were targeted in a chemical weapons attack by Moscow hardliners seeking to sabotage their efforts to end the conflict. That's on the front page, but the Oscars coverage, mostly Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, pages 2, 3, 4 and 5. A lot of interest in that story, and it is in the inside of The Sun today. Will Smith yesterday faced being stripped of his Best Actor Oscar as Hollywood was split over his violent slap of comic Chris Rock. So listen, I know, first off, before we say anything, there's an awful lot of serious stuff happening in the world. This is 2 very rich people in front of an awful lot of other rich people, one slapping the other. I get that. It's not, on the wider scale of things, a big deal. But, what are people talking about? Social media? What memes are they sharing? It's all about this. And in some ways, I think people use issues like this to maybe distract themselves from all those serious issues, which can become quite overbearing. But Will Smith yesterday faced being stripped of his Oscar. As I said, he slapped comic Chris Rock. A-list friends of the Men in Black star rushed to back him, while other senior movie figures condemned him for attacking Rock in front of global TV audience of billions. Nonsense. There wasn't billions watching that nonsense. I can tell you that. That's a potential audience. But there's no way billions were watching the Oscars. It was the most shocking moment in the Oscars' 94-year history and led to talks over what action Smith may face. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science said last night, "We condemn the actions of Mr. Smith. We've officially started a formal review." What do you think should happen? It's a bizarre one. As was pointed out yesterday, and we were, because we're live, able to discuss it yesterday. The papers can only pick it up today. They were laughing to begin with. Then he went up on stage, slapped him. People have analysed the video, suggest that Chris Rock knew what was going to happen. Will Smith eventually did apologise in the early hours of this morning. But I'll tell you what has happened, though. It started the conversation about, this jeering of people, criticising of people from the stage on their appearance. I think we've seen the end of that at these types of events, personally speaking. That's no loss to me. I love humour. I think it can be pushed right to the very, very, very boundaries. But to humiliate someone in front of other people and set an example to young people to be able to do that, I think that's all wrong. Other than that, too, it started giving us an opportunity to revisit the topic of alopecia, of course. And that's the reason why there was such a reaction to this, because Jada Smith, she suffers with alopecia. And we're going to be talking about that a little later on, getting the views of an organisation that represents people affected by that condition. And as I say, it gives us a chance to raise awareness of it. Lots of people are affected by it. So if you have any questions or comments on that, get in touch. Right. The Financial Ombudsman in the Mirror today report names more than a dozen institutions with the highest amount of upheld complaints last year. So have you lodged a complaint against any of these boys? Bank of Ireland Group, Permanent TSB, FBD Insurance are in the top 3, while others like Ulster Bank, Irish Life and AIB follow close behind. Bank of Ireland is top with a total of 16 complaints, including 5 upheld and a number of complaints partially upheld. I wouldn't have guessed it in that order, to be honest with you, but there you go. And finally, just an update to a story we read in the papers yesterday morning, and that is the news that a 42-year-old man has appeared before Cork District Court charged in connection with the murder of his younger brother and the attempted murder of his 75-year-old father in Carrickline in County Cork over the weekend. John Murphy was charged with the murder of 27-year-old Shane Murphy at the family home in Seavey Avenue on March 26th last. He was also charged with the attempted murder of John Murphy Sr. on the same occasion. He also faces 2 charges of producing a knife in order to intimidate a person, namely John Murphy Sr. and the late Shane Murphy. Detective Garda Ian Breen gave evidence at arrest, charge and caution. He said that Mr. Murphy made no reply when the charges were put to him under caution at Gurna Brahar Garda Station in Cork City in the early hours of yesterday morning. And terrible, senseless loss of life, but also a terrible situation, whichever way you look, for that family, the wider family, to deal with going forward. Right, I haven't mentioned the numbers for you yet, so here they are, just in case you want to get involved in the conversation. Comment on what we have lined up for you, or to raise your own issues. 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, that's the WhatsApp or text, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. I was asked to mention just before the break that a walk is taking place this Saturday, the 2nd of April at 10 p.m, leaving Schlieve-Schnacht Centre, heading for Schlieve-Schnacht in aid of MND and the Pieta House. It would be very much appreciated, no problem whatsoever. Also a shorter walk leaving at 11 a.m. for Barnan, or the King of Smaller Hills nearby. Tea and refreshments available afterwards at the Schlieve-Schnacht Centre. Okay, so if you want to join with Charlie Bird in raising money and awareness for motor neuron disease and Pieta House, those details are there for you.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Get ready for brighter days with Foy & Company. The Ballybuffet and Letterkenny stores have everything you need to get your outdoor spaces ready for summer. Foy stock all the leading paint brands and wallpapers, all available for nationwide delivery. From garden sheds and furniture to outdoor dining and decking, the Foy & Company team will guide you through the process of selecting the right paint for your indoor or outdoor space. Book your free online or in-store colour consultation today at foys.ie.
In this week's RTE Guide, Baz Ashmawy on childhood, his changing priorities, and how DIY SOS has transformed his view on life. From short strolls to long hikes, our Walking for Wellness feature is packed with inspiration to get you out and about. Everything and more. RTE Guide, on sale now.
If you're getting married, the in-house design team at BizPrint can get all your wedding stationery and signage customised to your requirements. Just visit weddinginvites.ie or call BizPrint at Port Road, Letterkenny on 9177 955.
It's no longer a secret. At Functional Foods, we have excellent value on everyday food products for that special occasion or party. So keep your food bill down without compromise on quality and value. Check out our regular promotions on Facebook or call and see what we have to offer as we open to the public Monday to Saturday. Opening hours on Facebook. Located in Trio Food Yard, Ballyrain Road, next to LYIT.
Join John Breslin and the Highland Radio Outside broadcast team this Friday from 12 till 2:30 p.m. for a live broadcast from the Mount Erical Hotel for the start of the 3-day Donegal New Build and Rebuild Home Show. Admission is free to this event. John will be speaking to some of the exhibitors and organisers to preview this show. So join John Breslin from the Donegal New Build and Rebuild Home Show at the Mount Erical Hotel, Letterkenny this Friday afternoon.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. On to it now. We welcome Sinn Féin spokesperson on fisheries and the marine, Deputy Padraig McLaughlin. Thanks for joining us, Padraig. How are you keeping?
I'm good, Greg.
All right. Okay. Right. Now, we are hearing from some professionals, people that know what they're talking about, and those dealing with the consequences of the widespread spread of COVID for increased public health measures. Would your party favour, say for instance, mandatory mask wearing in crowded spaces to be reintroduced, I wonder?
Well, I was in a number of shops and supermarkets, obviously, in Donegal over the last number of days, and it did appear to me that a very significant number of people were still wearing masks. And,
were you?
In some situations, yes, we'd be wearing masks in shops and what have you. But I think the one thing I do want to say is this, because we're obviously going to talk about the crisis in Letterkenny Hospital today. This crisis was not caused by the pandemic. This crisis existed for years before that. As you know, Greg, there was an average of 19 people per day on trolleys in Letterkenny Hospital every single day. Before the pandemic came
And I get
along.
that, and we'll get that, but I want to know, as a spokesperson for your party, would you, if in power, reintroduce mandatory mask wearing in the likes of shops, other crowded areas, public transport?
Well, the public health advice was that it was mandatory, and that was public health advice, and we've gone along with the public health advice right throughout this crisis. But at this stage, that isn't the advice. But the advice is that, they would say to people.
But would you, sorry, I just
transport,
asked the question one more last time, would your party, because you're about to go on now, I presume, and talk about the terrible situation in hospitals and the pressures on staff and what have you, it is those staff and the unions that represent those staffs that are calling hospitals emergency situations, the likes of Letterkenny, and it is they on the front line who say, please make masks mandatory again to try and ease the pressure on us. So in the context of all of that, just one last time, on this issue, would you diverge from public health advice as a party, and if you were in power, introduce mandatory masks, yes or no?
No, the answer is no, Greg.
Right, okay.
Public health, just to be clear, you or I are not health experts.
No, but the nurses is. The INMO are experts.
Well, throughout this crisis, we've had a process where you had NFET, love them or loathe them, they have been there throughout this crisis and given expert public advice in terms of what needed to be done at different stages. So that isn't the advice that have been mandatory. Although I do say to you that a very significant number of people of their own volition are wearing masks in public transport, in shops. I've seen that myself. I would certainly in crowded situations be wearing a mask myself. So, that is the reality that's out there at this stage. But I also want to say, Greg, that's a national call, right? A national call from the INMO. But in Donegal, the reality is what's causing the crisis in our hospital. It's a constant crisis, a crisis across our health service. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to go through from conversations I'm having with doctors, nurses, people on the ground throughout the county, and share with you some of the information that they're telling me now for quite a while. Okay, so in terms of our NowDoc system, I don't believe it's functioning properly in Donegal. I don't believe our primary care system is functioning properly. That's our GP and NowDoc system in the county. Therefore, there are people going to the emergency department in some instances that don't need to be going there. that in normal situations will be catered for in their local community.
Okay, and I'll let you continue, but if we could just take this in stages, right? And let me say the last thing I'd like to see is us having to go back to mandatory mask situations. But GPs, who I presume you talk to as well, will tell you that they're inundated with their phones ringing off the hook with people presenting with respiratory illness and also looking, for referrals for PCRs or whatever it might be. Because of there's so much virus spreading at the moment, that is what's contributing to the fact that, in some cases, the GP system, stroke NADOC system is simply not working.
Well, at this moment in time, there's clearly an upsurge in the virus. Thankfully, the latest number of strains, which have been highly infectious, but they haven't led to, which is the nightmare scenario where you would have your intensive care units just overrun. So what you have is, because of the high numbers, certainly an increase of cases in the hospitals. But because we have well over 90% vaccination rates, because we have now a situation with two different variants that have come through aren't as problematic as those that came before them. It's not, it's leading to public health advice that is, that we can congregate together. That's, that it's much more relaxed than it was 6 months ago. But I just want to emphasise this, and I can't emphasise this enough, Greg, is that I really don't want a message to go out in Donegal that this crisis we have right now, again, across the county, is just purely down to the pandemic. I think that's...
No, I get that, but what it really it comes down to, really, it doesn't matter who's in government, because it's Tony Holohan that's dictating what's going on here. You listen to him, you say whatever he says goes. The Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael say the exact same thing, yet doctors and nurses are saying, we need something to be done here, because we can't, in this broken health system, we cannot deal with this crisis of cases at the moment. You've got other professionals talking about the fact that, long COVID, we don't even know what the story is there. We're just letting this wash through the through the population over and over again. And you're saying, well, that's what Tony says, so that's what goes. Doesn't matter who's in power, really, then, does it?
It's not Tony Holohan, it's a whole collective of people, of experts, of epidemiologists, of a whole range of people. Indeed, GP representatives were involved in NFIT. So there's a whole range of experts. And I have stuck to the public health advice throughout this crisis, whether it was popular or not. In opposition, we have stuck to the advice throughout this crisis. And as you know, Greg, well, it caused huge anger at times. People couldn't understand the public health advice at times. I struggled to understand it at times, but we stood with it because these were the experts, and in the main, their analysis was right, as it turned out, to get us through this. I mean, but I want to emphasise this again, Greg. In the next number of months, this challenge of COVID will ease again, inevitably. But we will still be stuck with a crisis in our health system in Donegal. And if we could just get back into...
Yeah, go on. You were talking about how that people can't see the GPs, and this has been going on for 2 years. People can't see the GP or NADOC, and because they're worried for their well-being, they're going up to the ED because at least they'll get a medical professional to look over them and either admit them and treat them or tell them they're okay and send them home.
Well, there's a number of things. There's obviously the issue with the NADOC system, where the coverage just isn't strong enough across many parts of the county in those out-of-hour periods. There is an issue with the resourcing of our GP system in the county, but also in our community hospitals. So in terms of people unnecessarily going to the emergency department, there's a problem there. But there's also a problem in releasing patients back into the community. If you look at our community hospitals, and I put in a range of parliamentary questions over the last while, in the last 10 to 15 years, 1 in 4 beds in community hospitals across this county have gone. 1 in 4. And I think it's about 1 in 4 to 1 in 3 nurses. So there's been a real big cut in actual beds and nurses in community hospitals. What does that mean? That means there's less beds to release people out into the community. That means people, are staying unnecessarily long periods in the major acute hospitals. So all of this failure in our community hospital investment, in our NowDoc and GP investment, leads to this bottleneck at the emergency department. And the nurses and doctors in that department and throughout the major hospital in Letterkenny, and indeed the paramedics and the ambulances, they are paying the price for this failure. The message from, I spoke to the INMO industrial officer Neil Donoghue there on Friday at length about all of this. And, his focus is that we have dealt with this COVID crisis now for a number of years, and he felt that the management of the HSE should know how to deal with this at this stage, that the nurses that he represents are being failed by the lack of investment and the lack of leadership really within the overall HSE system and sale to hospital system.
Well, let me just put it to you like this, though, right? We're going to have 2,500 cases of COVID in hospitals. And again, I'm sorry to labour this point. 2,500 cases of COVID in hospital, but 50% of them will be incidental because there's so much COVID in the country. But at the same time, all of those cases complicate general care, right? Okay, so you've got the group representing emergency medicine. You've got the INMO, right, saying, look, we need to do something to try and slow down the amount of cases. Now, we have talked for years now about the historic problems with the health system, right? And you've said, right, if Sinn Féin in power, we're going to do all we can to do it. There's one thing now that you could speak out about and back the nurses, back the people working in emergency medicine who want something done to try and slow these cases down. The one thing you could actually probably influence and affect right now, and you go with the government on it. So what is opposition politics in this country?
With respect, Greg, we're not going with the government. It's the public health advice throughout this crisis that we have adhered to. Why? Because you and I and most people out there are lay people. We rely on experts in terms of epidemiology, in terms of all sorts of levels of expertise, including GP representatives. So that's who we've relied on throughout this crisis. And I'm not going to, with my limited expertise of viruses and disease, take a position. But I will say this, for what it's worth.
Let me just say, though, I'm not asking you to rely, right? I'm not asking you to rely on your epidemiological expertise or nothing, right? I'm saying, you said you just met with the INMO. Did the INMO say to you, by the way, as an opposition party, will you back us up in our calls for mandatory masks to be brought back in? Did the INMO ask you to?
No, the answer to that question is no. The focus that Neil Donoghue had as the industrial relations officer. Now, INMO nationally have made that call.
Yeah.
But in my conversation on Friday,
so you're choosing which, you see, this is the point I'm saying. You're saying, I'm not asking you to rely on your own expertise, right? But you're choosing not to listen to, I can't remember the emergency medicine group, but they sent the letter to the health minister yesterday. I'll get the information in a moment. And the INMO, right? You're saying, well, we have to listen to public health advice. Does there come a point when enough people in medicine say to your party, look, we're on the front line, we're dealing with this, we have no connection with the government, we have no cosy relationship with the government, we're in the coalface dealing with this, so you go, you know what, actually, maybe Tony Hoolan and Nefford, maybe they're not right on this one, and maybe the government's not right on this one, and maybe those actually working with people in hospitals and dealing with them, maybe they're right, and we'll listen to that professional medical advice.
Well,
because it's not popular, Padraig. That's the reason. It's not popular. Because you would be absolutely lambasted if your party said, right, maybe we do need to look at health, maybe. And I'm sure, and I would love you to just straight up, did you and your party, senior party's members, would you discuss this and say this wouldn't go down well with the public if we did this?
Greg, I said to you, again and again in this interview, that at different stages of this crisis, when it wasn't popular at all, we have consistently stuck with the public health advice. That's what we have done. We've been responsible in opposition throughout this crisis. Whether it was popular or not, we stuck with the public health advice. Now, in terms of the situation in Donegal, as I said at the outset, I think a very large number of people are wearing masks in settings where it's overcrowded. I certainly, and many other people would do that, but it's not mandatory. But we do that of our own volition, and we're aware that there's a very high upsurge in the community that's there. So, there are people who are taking that action of their own volition. But the difficulty is that, the actual official public health advice that is given to us throughout this crisis at this point is not that. That may change in the days ahead, and if it does change in the days ahead, we will support that. So whether it was popular or not throughout this crisis, we have stuck to the public health advice, and it was the right thing to do, in my opinion. And that's where we're at right now. And at different stages, we may have agreed or disagreed with it, but that's where it's at right now. But again, I have to emphasise with you, because you asked me the question. I spoke to Neil Donoghue there, who's an excellent representative for INMO and a passionate representative in the west of Ireland. And his focus was he believes that the management of the hospital system and the management of the HSE, at this stage, should know how to deal with, with numbers that come into the hospital system. So, the issue in the west of Ireland in terms of crisis and emergency department is not the same as the rest of Ireland. If you look at the numbers of people on trolleys, if you were to do an analysis throughout the year, you'll see that in Letterkenny, the hospitals like Limerick, Cork, Sligo, Galway, but particularly Letterkenny and Limerick, they are the worst, level of crisis. And that's not down to COVID or the pandemic. That's down to neglect of our health systems in the region and a lack of a structure within the hospital to cope with that. So that's the message that's coming from the west of Ireland. Whenever we put the message nationally from the INMO, in the west of Ireland, it's about the resourcing of the health system and it's about the management of the health system. That's the message I'm getting from them. And I'm a representative for Donegal, Greg, I'm a representative of the people of Donegal.
I do. But you're also a very senior member of Sinn Féin, and therefore, we have to take the opportunity to ask some questions in a national context. And it's the INMO, by the way, who you obviously are listening to very intently as it relates to the running of hospitals, and also it's the Emergency Department Task Force that also recommended something be done to try and ease the pressure on them, as I forget. Because I couldn't remember. Right, okay. And as you say, the community bed issues, the step down, being able to free up beds to make beds available and not free them up just to send them home sick, to free them up. But I'm sure you're getting contact, Padraig, that really there is a sense amongst the public that the hospital system is not working at all in terms of, people going in, and because things are so stretched, leaving without feeling they're getting care. Do you know what I mean? And of course, people always say, yes, of course, the frontline staff are doing all they can. But sometimes, and they are, I'm not questioning that for a moment, but I've never heard the stories about people's experience in hospitals that I'm hearing right now. Is that the same with you?
Yeah, there's no, I mean, it's horrific. If you have a situation where, nurses are dealing with, up to 20 patients per nurse, which is, it's just unmanageable. You have a situation where there are people who have been a nurse, and remember that, most people who are involved, well, not most, pretty much everybody involved in nursing is there, they want to provide care and support. That's what motivated them to get involved in this profession. But they can't keep doing it beyond a certain age now. They just can't keep up with the demands that are on them. That's the message that was coming from, the INMO in my conversation on Friday. And you have a situation where, where there's just an impossible demand. Now, I know we had a meeting, the Sinn Féin, we took David Culnan, our health spokesperson, and, we met with the management of Letterkenny, but we also met with the management of the Sale to Hospital Group in the west of Ireland, and we got all of our TDs in the west of Ireland, because, as I said to you, the crisis and emergency department is unique to the west of Ireland on a continual basis, and there's something badly wrong with the management of the system in the west of Ireland. So, we need to be honest about the neglect of the west of Ireland. We need to be honest about the fact that there's not enough nurses, beds, doctors in our community hospitals and acute hospitals in the west of Ireland. And there's, that has to be acknowledged at national level. That's why I've asked for the Minister for Health, Stephen Donnelly, to come up to Donegal to meet with the frontline representatives, be it INMO,
I'm sorry, Park. I can't let this go, right? I cannot let this go. You're asking the Health Minister, and you're asking the Health Minister to come up to Letterkenny University Hospital and listen to the INMO, right? The INMO are asking politicians like yourself and all to do something to help them to try and stem the spread of the disease. You're not listening to them, and yet you want the health minister to come up and listen to them. Now, you can say I'm conflating two issues here, but it's all part of the same problem.
Well, I'm going to say it for the third or fourth time, okay? I met with the INMO representative for the west of Ireland. I'm a TD for Donegal, about the situation in Donegal and Letterkenny, to share my information from what's happening in Donegal and to listen to his point of view. We both shared what we are hearing on the ground in Donegal. And he is very clear, and I am very clear, that the situation in Letterkenny at this point should be getting managed. We shouldn't be under this level of pressure and demand on nurses and doctors because of an upsurge in COVID. This has gone on 2 years now. So that's the reality in Donegal based on my conversation with the INMO on Friday. So I'm listening to them, acting on them specifically in relation to Donegal. And I'm telling you, based on, I speak to cleaners, porters, nurses, doctors, consultants, right across the health system pretty much every single day in Donegal. I know what's happening in this county. And yes, COVID is a challenge. But what's causing the crisis in Donegal is the failure to deal with the cutback in beds in the community hospitals, the lack of resourcing of NowDoc and GP system, and the lack of beds in the hospital. And if you talk to anybody involved in healthcare in this county, so until we accept that there's neglect of this county and start to turn that around, COVID will ease in a month's time and we'll still have an emergency department crisis as we did before this pandemic. That's the truth of what's happening in Donegal. That's my opinion. That's the view of the INMO in Donegal. I'm sure if you'd SIP2, Forza, anybody, and you've talked to how many people over the years about this, you know this.
100%. I do. I know that. I also know that maybe if there is something that we could be doing, I don't know what makes you think that this will be gone in a month, but maybe there's something we could be doing more imminently to try and help the people who are trying to work in a completely broken, run-down system. That's all. But anyway, listen, I'll not labour the point, and you've had 3 opportunities to make yourself very clear, so I appreciate that. Just before I let you go, you're a former member of Donegal County Council. Obviously, Gardaí were called to a meeting yesterday, so in terms of what can be said, we have to be careful. But the people of Donegal, we talk about them being let down by the health service. They're being let down, are they not, now by the local authority? I don't know how many full meetings have happened over the course of the last year, but it is very, very few. Whatever the reason or the cause of the disruption, surely they should be able to find a way to be able to conduct a meeting and talk about the issues like the hospital, like MICA, like rural transport, like all the other issues that we're facing now. As a former council member and as a current member of the Dáil, this wouldn't happen in the Dáil. How is it being allowed to happen at council level? We should be able to find a solution to fix any problem to allow these council meetings to go ahead. Would you not agree?
Yeah, well, the difference in the Dáil is that you have, a large number of ushers and security permanently around the Dáil, and the laws that were made for local authorities and the Dáil never could have emphasised the actions that we have seen, and I think most people in the county will know what I'm talking about without me being too specific. I think people can see that there are actions that are taking place that are not just being directed against members of Donegal County Council, but against leading members of the MICA and redress campaign, people who are traumatised homeowners, people who have dedicated their families' lives to finding justice for thousands of people in Donegal, and there's been just attack after attack. I've never seen behaviour like this in all my 20 years as a public representative. I don't know what you do to try and run a meeting when that type of behaviour is taking place. It could never have been emphasised that this would be taking place by. I think people can. I'm not going to.
All right, I'll take your point. But
I'll be getting
No, I understand, and I'll take your point. Yeah, all right. Listen, thanks for that. Sorry for taking up so much of your time this morning. I appreciate it, though. Nonetheless, I appreciate it greatly. Thank you very much indeed. That was Deputy Pádraig McLaughlin, Sinn Féin spokesperson on fisheries and the marine. I don't want anyone to think that I'm here banging the drum for mask mandate to come back. I've very much like everybody else enjoyed our return to normal, okay? But the point being, it's a political question as it relates to whose advice does one listen to. The difference between being in a position of power, decision-making and opposition and all the role there within is really what I'm trying to get at here. So, as I say, I'm not here trying to drive something up so that we end up having to all wear masks. And that's not the point. But, I mean, obviously there are, very senior medical people within the INMO and within that emergency department task force that have their views. And I'm just curious as to how do you choose which views to listen to?
The 9 till Noon Show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota. With over 45 years of experience, trust us to help you on your electric journey.
Sheridan Security, now introducing zero-wire smart alarm systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
For a great early season lawnmower deal, visit Gartley Sales and Hire, exclusive stockists of Stiga in the Northwest. Mowers, trimmers and hedge trimmers. Full trade-in service available at Gartley Sales and Hire, Gartley, Letterkenny. Call 9126276.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny, your football destination store. If you belong on pitch, try a new pair of Adidas Predator Edge football boots, available in kids and adult sizes. Complete your kit with a pair of Murphy's gloves, available in many colours and sizes. Update your O'Neill shorts and socks with the all-important Gum Shield. Then you're ready to compete. Look the part, play the part. In-store, online. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Bluebird Care are looking for you. Bluebird Care are currently seeking carers and nurses to join their ever-expanding team. Immediate starts for carers in all parts of the county, especially Letterkenny and Ashone and Donegal Town. Bluebird Care are also looking for registered general nurses for day and nighttime 12-hour shifts. Contact Bluebird Care on 07491 9562 or visit bluebirdcare.ie and bring care home.
Hart apparently chose this site because it has a sort of microclimate, because we're in a real valley here, and he thought that because of his interest in botany, he thought he could do something with that. We purchased the location, not the house, and we didn't even know there were gardens here of any interest.
Okay. That's Down the Garden Path, a new series Wednesday nights on Highland Radio, after the news at 8 p.m.
Okay, Anne Harkin is a blogger on Ms. Amaze Bold and joins us now on the programme. Good morning to you, Anne.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much for joining us. Right, I just want your reaction to, before we use it as an opportunity to raise awareness, by the way, trying to take some positive from this, the situation as it relates to the Oscars. Chris Rock and his, in inverted commas, joke. I said yesterday, I said it again today, surely we are past, we're telling our children not to do it in the playground, surely we're past trying to make a joke of someone's appearance. I can only imagine how that lady felt sitting in close to the front row and to be singled out in that fashion.
Yeah, I didn't see it live when it happened. I seen it yesterday morning, and it's been everywhere. I don't condone violence, obviously, but I totally can understand where it came from, because, like, I know Will Smith doesn't suffer from alopecia, but you're watching somebody you love deal with something that it's extremely hard to deal with. And I can understand why he done what he done, even though I don't agree with it. And as for Chris Rock, people are saying, oh, he mightn't have known. And that's fair enough. I totally understand that. But there's a difference in making a joke, a general joke, because I can take a joke about alopecia, and I'm sure most people that have dealt with alopecia can take a joke about alopecia. But when it's directed specifically at you, it's a different story. So, he could have made a joke, whatever, about alopecia, or even though some people are saying that's not what he was aiming at, but he directed it at a single person. And when it's at a person, it's not funny anymore.
No, and if you're going to do it on that stage, ignorance is not a defence.
No, it's definitely not. And, I'm sure at some stage he must have done a little bit of research about, different people going to be there so that he could plan his jokes.
Yeah.
And apparently this wasn't the first time he's had a dig at them. So then to highlight the fact that she had shaved her hair because of alopecia and just to make a show of her on the world stage, I can understand where the violence came from, even though I don't agree with it. I'm sure there was better ways that it could have been handled. But, you can only take so much before you break.
Yeah, and, she suits her and she's wealthy and she's got the world at her feet. But that's not the reality, of course, because we're all human beings and we all have our vulnerabilities. That is something she deals with every day. That's something that probably, is of great concern to her. So we can't separate her out from any other individual just because she's, an attractive, successful, wealthy person. That probably hurt her. I'm sure it did hurt her the exact way it would hurt any other human being to be publicly humiliated like that.
Yes, exactly. I've seen a lot of people saying, a lot of black women shave their heads. And maybe they do, I don't know. But, she is an actor, so she will obviously have to look a certain way. So now that she has alopecia, and depending on how it is and where it's at in the stage of growth, she mightn't be able to grow her hair long, so she's going to have to go down the route of wigs for roles and things like that. And that takes a lot out of you, do you know what I mean? Just thinking, right, this is me, and I can't be who I was because of this.
Yeah, and of course, and as I said yesterday as well, I'm sorry to repeat myself to listeners, but there was young people who, maybe girls who cut their hair short, or maybe they have alopecia, that were probably called G.I. Jane in the schoolyard yesterday, whether it be in America or here. That's I think what these comedians. And we've had previous conversations about how far a comedian go as far as you like, as far as I'm concerned, to a certain extent, obviously. But to single people out and jeer them, that's not comedy. That roasting crack, it seems to be particularly American thing. I think hopefully maybe now we've seen the end of that.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because I think as long as people are laughing, the comedians are going to continue with their jokes because they don't see that it's wrong. And maybe it isn't wrong in a certain way because, as I say, I now can laugh if something happens to me. My hair actually blew clean off my head a couple of weeks ago and I was in stitches laughing. But there was two young guys who were old enough to know better that decided to point and snigger.
Right, okay.
Now, the whole world was pointing at Jada yesterday.
Yeah, no, you're right, exactly. Listen, you first noticed a change at 16. You've been dealing with this now for over 30 years. So just as I say, let's use this opportunity for a positive now. And talk to me about how you came to realise that you had alopecia.
It's so long ago now.
Yeah.
I was actually going out one weekend and I was getting my hair put up. It was this bit dumb thing back in the day. I was showing my age now.
An up style.
An up style. And the hairdresser found a bald patch at the side of my head. And she said, you have a bald patch? And I said, no, obviously I didn't. So she said, I can't really put your hair up because it's quite a good sized bald patch and it's quite noticeable. So that's how I first found out I had alopecia. But I went to a dermatologist, which is probably not the right specialist, but you get what you get here in Ireland, unfortunately. And they said that it's alopecia, and they named the type. And this is, it's rare. It doesn't change. It doesn't go from one type to another. But I'm proof that that's definitely wrong because I went from having patches to having absolutely no hair.
And it's different for it can be different for every different people, can't it, Anne? It's one of those things that affects people in different ways. Your hair can come back for some never.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I'm close on 30 years now, so my hair's never coming back. And some people are very lucky, and some people I think it's one of those things where the more you stress about it, the worse it can make it because it can be related to stress. And I think once you find a bald patch, the first thing you do is start to worry and stress, which can then produce another bald patch. But some people are lucky and that them bald patches do grow back, and sometimes they never have it again, or sometimes it's a vicious cycle of growing back, losing somewhere else, growing back. Some people only lose the hair in their head, and then there's some people who unfortunately are like me and we lose all our hair all over our body.
And there's no exact reason for it, isn't it? I mean, you can talk about stress or shocks, but we don't really truly know, do we? What causes it?
There is no known cause. There is no known cure. It seems to be something that happens. Apparently, there is studies that it can be hereditary.
Yeah.
But there's nobody in my family that I'm aware of, unless it's way, way back down the line. So there's no known cause. They say stress, but I think if you're under that amount of stress for that amount of time, then alopecia is the least of your worries.
It's going to start having impacts elsewhere on your organs and what have you. I get you.
Yes.
So, Anne, what's your advice to people? Do you find support groups, networking is helpful, or?
I did try to start a support group in Letterkenny back a couple of years ago, and I went for a couple of months, but there was only one or two people turning up because I guess it's a very private thing, and a lot of people don't want to admit it to themselves. And I actually was on your show just before I started the support group, and when I came out, a lady had rang me, and she had alopecia for 20-something years, and the only person in her family who knew was her husband.
Wow.
And, she had children, and she had friends, so it was a very private, personal thing for her.
Yeah, but can you imagine the energy to conceal it?
Yeah, I can.
Emotional energy, not physical, but the emotional energy to conceal it. And I think really then the best thing we can achieve today, and it can be alopecia, it could be whatever it is that to think of what the pointing and sniggering, how that makes someone feel. So, that's really probably what we can achieve today, is just think twice. I've spoken to people, and I've said this before, a fella in his 60s, and stuff was said to him as a child, and it still affects him to this day. It stays. This kind of stuff can stay with you. So we just have to be careful. Our words can have a huge impact. You can forget about it in 10 minutes, but another person that you say something to or jeer can feel that for years and years into the future.
Yes, without a doubt. My worst fear for so many years was being laughed at. Thank God I'm at the stage now where that's not my worst fear anymore. If that had still been my fear a few weeks ago when my hair blew off, I don't know how I would have handled that, because I think I would have hid for days or worse. And so I can understand how it's a scar you carry that nobody can ever see.
Yeah.
When people make fun of you and they don't realise words are far worse. Words never leave. You might get a slap or you might get a cut, and they will heal, and you might have a mark, but your mental scars are something that you carry with you for the rest of your life.
And it could be someone with alopecia, it could be someone who looks different, someone who of a different race, whatever it might be. Just to think on what is fleeting in your day, the impact it can have on someone. All right, thanks very much, Anne. Lovely to speak to you again. Ms. Amaze Bold, where can people check that out?
Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. You'll find me. If you go on Facebook, you'll find the different
Get
links.
on TikTok, Anne. It's waiting for you. Get on it.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Take care, Anne. God bless you. Thanks so much indeed. Anne Harkin there, blogger on Ms. Amaze Bold. Back with the weather ahead of the news.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny. Explore our wide range of virtual tools at kellystoyota.com.
Years ago, I used to dread my motor insurance renewal. Then a friend told me about O'Malley Scanlon Insurance in Ballybofey and Dunlow. They do all the hard work. They contact all the major insurance underwriters, and they get the very best possible quote for me. They have saved me a small fortune over the years, and they could do the same for you.
When your insurance comes up for renewal, contact O'Malley Scanlon Insurance at their Ballybofey office on 9131020 or their Dunlow office on 952206. O'Malley Scanlon is regulated by the Central Bank.
Alcohol and other drug use can be very difficult for family members. If you have a loved one whose alcohol or other drug use is negatively impacting your life, reach out for support and information. Alcohol Forum Ireland have a family support service in Donegal and are there to offer help and support. Call us on 085 830 7066. Alternatively, you can call the HSE Alcohol Helpline, free phone 1800 459 459. When you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Help is out there. This ad has been supported by Letterkenny Community Action on Alcohol and by the Healthy Ireland Fund, supported by the Department of Health and the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth.
Flanagan's massive half-price store clear-out sale starts this Saturday, 26th of March in Buncrana. 50% of Irish-made sofas, tables, beds, wardrobes, rugs and occasional furniture. Immediate delivery on everything. Furniture home for half price. Don't miss out. www.flanagans.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Get ready to hit the beach and soak up the sun by choosing flights to Alicante, Barcelona, Faro, Mallorca, Malaga and Milan this summer with Ryanair. Ireland West Airport, you're flying.
Okay, mist and fog clearing away, but patches may linger on the coast for a time. Good sunny spells developing through the morning with scattered showers developing in the afternoon though. Highest temperatures of 12 to 14 degrees in light northeasterly or variable breezes. Right, time to break for the news and obituary notices. Rejoin us. We'll kick off the second hour of the programme with the Community Garda information item.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. Police in Derry remain at the scene of a security alert in the Campsie area following the discovery of a suspicious object on Clooney Road. They say the dual carriageway remains open, but access onto the COVID test centre at this point in time remains closed. The HSE says hospitals are seeing a level of disruption they haven't seen before because of the current COVID surge. Over 1,600 people with the virus are currently being treated. Daily case numbers remain above 10,000. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly says the true figures are even higher, with hundreds of thousands he believes getting COVID every week but not declaring positive antigen tests. The HSE's Chief Clinical Officer, Dr. Colm Henry, says it's putting a lot of pressure on the healthcare system in general, and in particular it's putting pressure on hospital wards.
Certainly these numbers we're seeing huge disruption, and many of our frontline staff are reporting a level of disruption they've never seen, and that's because many of the wards are given over to COVID-19 patients. That requires specific infection prevention and control measures, and our inability to discharge people back out into other settings greatly hampered. So we're seeing a level of disruption that we hadn't seen before.
Meanwhile, Donegal Deputy Padraig McLaughlin, as you've been hearing on the show, says he will be urging the Health Minister Stephen Donnelly to come to Letterkenny at the earliest possible opportunity so that he can see what's happening at Letterkenny University Hospital at this point in time. He described it previously as a perfect storm. The Taoiseach says he hopes peace talks between Russia and Ukraine can begin the process of achieving a ceasefire. Teams from both sides are meeting in Istanbul for a fresh round of talks. It's over a month since Russian forces began their invasion of Ukraine, which has led to heavy sanctions. Speaking as he entered cabinet this morning, Micheál Martin said the war continues to have an impact in Ukraine and right across Europe.
We hope that the peace talks today can begin and commence a process towards a ceasefire. Because it's absolutely vital that this war ends, because too many people are losing their lives, and it's a barbaric attack on the citizens of Ukraine and the cities and towns of Ukraine.
A new €2.8 billion auto-enrolment pension scheme is to be considered by Cabinet this morning. It'll see 750,000 people who don't currently have a pension automatically signed up in 2024. All workers earning over €20,000 a year will make contributions. In the first 3 years, employees will put in at least 1.5% of their salary, matched by the employer, with the state contributing 0.5%. Business correspondent Joe Lanham says it'll rise in increments from there.
If, for example, in 10 years' time you earn €50,000, 6% or €3,000 will be set aside from your gross for your pension. The same 3,000 from the employers, and the state will throw in €1,000. Now, it's only for those over the age of 23 and under the age of 60, and it's going to be tiered. So it's going to start slowly and build up. So you won't suddenly lose 6% of your gross salary.
Irish Water is again being urged to take over the Puriflow system at Dromore on the outskirts of Letterkenny. Locals say when the system overflows, it runs out onto the dual carriageway, and because Irish Water has refused to take it in charge, Donegal County Council has to empty it manually on a monthly basis. Local councillor Jerry McMonigal says this situation can't continue. He believes Irish Water must step up to the plate.
This again flags up the need for a proper sewage system in the Dromore area, and we've had it over this last number of years, calls from many a councillor for this to happen, but again with the ongoing works in the 4-lane, there's an opportunity there for to put in the main sewer all the way out to Dromore, which would take away from having to empty these pure flow sites on a regular basis, so it's a no-brainer.
The Irish Penal Reform Trust says sentencing should be left solely to a judge's discretion. The Justice Minister is currently examining proposals that would see judges given the power to set minimum sentences in the most heinous of murder cases. Deputy Director of the IPRT, Molly Joyce, has welcomed the plans.
People sentenced to life at the moment currently don't know how long they're actually going to serve, so it could be of benefit to them to actually have a minimum sentence imposed. That means they know how long they're actually going to serve. But the key thing that we would say is that it shouldn't be set out in legislation any minimum tariff, that it should be at the discretion of the judge.
And temperatures are set to plummet after the country was basked in sunshine in recent days. Met Éireann says it will become noticeably colder, with lows of -3 degrees Celsius tomorrow night. There'll be showers at times as well, but Met Éireann say it'll still be very dry for the most part. And looking at the weather forecast for today, mist and fog clearing this morning, some patches possibly lingering in coastal areas for a time. Good sunny spells this morning with scattered showers developing in the afternoon. Top temperatures today of 12 to 14 degrees Celsius in light northeasterly or variable breezes. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. The obituary notices for this Tuesday morning, the 29th of March. The death has taken place of Liam O'Donnell, Rye, Manor Cunningham. Removal from Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny this evening, going to his late residence, which is private to family and close friends, please. Funeral from there on Thursday morning at 10:15, travelling via Manor Cunningham Main Street to St Columba's Church, Dromahal, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Cancer Society, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Hugh O'Donnell, Gorton Nasilla, Glenties. His remains will repose at Chauvelin's Funeral Home, Sandfield, Ardra, this afternoon from 3 to 5, with removal to his brother Patrick O'Donnell's home at Gorton Nasilla to repose overnight. House private to family only, please. Removal tomorrow morning to St Connell's Church, Glenties, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Family flowers welcome or donations in lieu if desired to St Joseph's Patient Comfort Fund, care of any family member. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Robert Macaulay, Lena Moore, Muff. Robert's remains are reposing at his nephew John and Pauline Macaulay's residence at Carnamoyle, Muff. There'll be a service at John and Pauline's home at 2 o'clock on tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon, with burial afterwards in Coolmore Parish Church. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to Letterkenny University Hospital, care of Porter Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Margaret Strain, Nate Doherty, Gorton Ski, Burnfoot. Her remains will repose at her home from 3 o'clock this afternoon. Removal on Thursday morning at 10:15 to St Mary's Church, Fawn, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Margaret's Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. House strictly private to family and close friends, please, with family time from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Michael Sharkey, Shrohan Falcara. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Wake private to family, close friends and neighbours, please, with rosary at 8 p.m. Funeral Mass in Christ the King Church, Gorthahork, tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjacent cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on the Gorthahork Parish webcam or on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page. The death has taken place of William John McRae, 19 Carrigan's Road, Newton Stewart. Funeral service at his son Gordon's home at 14 Carrigan's Road, Newton Stewart, this morning at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in Droit Graveyard. The death has taken place of Michael Monaghan, Tulnaree, Carndonagh. His remains are reposing at his late residence, with viewing this afternoon from 2 until 8 p.m. this evening. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Kevin Quinn, Grange, Inch Island. His remains are reposing at his sister Margaret's residence at Grange. Removal tomorrow morning at 10:15 to Our Lady of Lourdes Church, Inch, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. House private pleas to family and friends only. Family time from 11 p.m. tonight. Family flowers only pleas, donations in lieu if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Director. The death has occurred of Elizabeth Bessie McLaughlin, Cleana, Ballymcgann, Buncrana. Funeral from her late residence this morning at 10:10 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Cockhill, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. And the death has taken place of Mary Carey, Carol Begg, Letterkenny, Carndonagh. Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock this morning in St Columba's Church, Ballinacray, with interment afterwards in Ballinacray Cemetery. Family flowers only please. Donations to the Alzheimer's Society, care of any family member. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
You're very welcome along to the second hour of the 9 till noon show. I hope you're well this Tuesday morning. Tell us what's going on with you. 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps and texts. Or call 07491 25,000. Number if you're texting in, of course. Thank you as always, by the way. It's really appreciated. If you say it too often, it sounds like you're just saying it to say it. But I think if you say it infrequently, it means more. It's really, really important. It's great that you have your say, get involved, keep our phone lines busy. And I would always invite those who don't text in radio stations very often or programmes like this. Your views, your opinions are equal to all of ours, and share them with us. Why not? If you've got something in your head and you think, you know what, this is what I think. I heard Greg say this, or Podrick say that, or Donald say the other, or Kate say that, or Jane say the other, and you disagree, well, text it in 086 60 25,000. We don't do anything with your information. We just read your comment. Caroline might call back to see if you want to go on air. That's normal. You just say no, that's fine. And just have your say. And, get your views out there. Your views are really, really important. Or if you think, why don't they ever talk about such and such on that programme? Let us know what you think we should be talking about, or if there's an issue that we get it all the time, and hopefully we do get most of it on air. But as I say, if there's something that you say, well, why don't you talk about that? Give us a suggestion. It's your programme, and we say that, and we mean it, by the way. 086 60 25,000, text or WhatsApp. So give us a call on 07491 25,000. Some of you already getting involved, of course. Will Smith was laughing at the joke. But when he seen the look in his wife's face, the whole incident took a turn for the worst. There was no winner there. I'm sure Smith felt like a bit of a prat, and you could see Chris Rock was gobsmacked, quite literally as well, by the whole incident. Pardon the pun, they say. Okay. Greg, the COVID is not the problem in Letterkenny Hospital. The overcrowding problem in Letterkenny Hospital has been there for years due to very bad management and due to government bringing in hundreds of thousands of immigrants to our country and overwhelming the already broken health system. Well, dare I say that if it wasn't for people from other countries coming here to work in our hospital system, it would be completely collapsed. Right, so, we can't cherry pick here. If we hadn't got the great services of an awful lot of people that have made Ireland their home, the health service would be in an awful state of repair. So I don't take on board what you're saying there. I do take on board, but I don't agree with it. There's only 6 million people on this entire island. It doesn't matter where they come from. We should be able to provide a health system to care for them. With the amount of money that's going into the HSE, it's not overwhelmed because all of a sudden there's 14 million people in this country. That's got nothing to do with it. It's how it's run, it's how it's managed. It's not how it's resourced, but it's how those resources are being spent. And as I say, I'm very grateful to the many hundreds of thousands of people that have come to work in our health service from other countries to make Ireland their home. Let's look at the way Sligo is run, says this caller. We've become the poor relation to them. Plenty of staff to run the service. If Highland Radio is concerned enough, why not get someone on from Sligo to ask them how many staff are employed in Sligo compared to Letterkenny? Well, we do care that much. That's why we talk about it and give people a platform and an opportunity to raise their concerns. It's not up to us to fix the problem, by the way. We highlight the problem, and there's public representatives earning around 100 grand a year, many of them, 5 of them, in fact, in this county alone, whose job it is to fix it, or to hold those to account to fix it. We can do our bit, we can give a platform, but we aren't, the Dáil here. We aren't the HSC management, either locally or nationally or regionally. But I appreciate your text. Sligo, different views. I wouldn't say Sligo's up here and Letterkenny's down there. If people with COVID weren't taking up the beds in our hospitals, surely that would free up the beds. There's still too many people not doing the right thing. I know people that have never worn masks and don't believe COVID exists. And listen, we're not going to get into that. I don't want to get into the sort of them and us, or us and them, or whatever combination it might be. But my point more generally was, I don't know what will fix the problem. My point more is that how this government is run in terms of those in power and those in opposition. Whose health advice we take? Is it Tony Hoolan and Neffits? Is it the Emergency Department Task Force? Is it the INMO who are working on it? We can talk about historic problems and that will take generations to fix, or we can talk about, an immediate situation that some are raising. That's awful, Greg, the way you're speaking to that man. I, for one, will only listen to Tony Hoolan, and I won't be wearing a mask in shops or else, where they are the dirtiest thing. People touch them and they don't wash their hands. I'm not saying people should wear masks. I hope I'd made that quite clear. Mine was more of a conversation on the varying health advice from different parts and the government versus opposition. Listen, it's quite clear, and I said this as well, that the health minister, if you read between the lines, does not believe, through conversation with Tony Hoolan, does not believe that, such as the way the virus is spreading, that wearing masks would have enough of an impact to justify the inconvenience. That's clear. You can also look to other European countries that are experiencing a similar wave that have much stricter mask wearing mandates than we do. Okay, so I wasn't talking about that element of it. A caller says, and by the way, Letterkenny Hospital is a disgrace, and it's not the staff's fault. It's the HSC and the lack of responsibility. I'm terrified to get sick and have to go in there. I think I'd go mad. I'd not be able to cope if I was in that hospital. Greg, you're 100% right. What is needed will not happen because the politicians know it is a vote coster. Listening to Podrick saying we're following experts' advice. Surely when it comes to health issues, our doctors and nurses are the experts. Well done, Greg, on your stand on the issue. Another, so are we saying the vaccines are a failure if we're seeking the return of masks? I'm not seeking the return of masks. Let me be clear one more time. But this is the HSE, say, they are quite convinced. And if you look at the amount of cases versus the amount of people in ICU, they say that it has some limited impact on transmission, but the benefit of the vaccine is to prevent serious illness. And the statistics to back that up are as follows. 1,600 people are currently in hospital with COVID. Half of those, around about 800, right, are in hospital because of COVID or being treated for respiratory illness or whatever it might be. So that's 800. Of those, over half aren't vaccinated fully, right? Okay, so people would argue that 30% of people in hospital aren't vaccinated. They're the ones sick with COVID, or make up over half of those sick with COVID. And that proves, given the rate of vaccination, that vaccinations reduce the impact of COVID on public's health. That's what they say. Okay, that's the statistics. Greg, it is a country where you can only be sick Monday to Friday. People cannot get to see doctors on Friday, so it's easier. It's easier to see now, Doc. Another, my husband was due to have an operation. It was cancelled. He's in terrible pain and there's no sign of his elective surgery being rescheduled. Does anyone know if any of these surgeries will take place, and if so, when? No one knows the answer to that, unfortunately. Greg, 4-year-old with lump on the forehead. GP would not see. Sent to A&E after 10 hours. Got to bed at 2 a.m. Bed empty in 6 wards. No doctor available. Bad management. That comes in from Daniel. Daniel, I can imagine 4-year-old, a lump that's not going to go away. I'm sure you were up to high dough. I hope it turns out to be nothing too serious and he's out soon. I'm sure that's a very, very stressful situation. Another, when Simon Harris was Minister for Health, he came to Letterkenny to meet with Podrick and councillors. We were protesting about the state of the hospital that day outside the hospital, and Nothing has changed. A couple of people shared a tweet by Thomas Pringle. It was a picture of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. And it reads, next time there's a ludicrous out-of-touch speech made in the Dáil, implying you could slap the sense out of them. And then hashtag just joking. Is that funny? I don't know. But anyway, a few people highlighted that to say that they don't think it was funny. Another caller says, in fact, lastly before the break and then the community guard item, in relation to children isolating with COVID as a parent, if I have to isolate with them but I'm not paid, I rang Citizens Advice yesterday. They said no. For the second time in a number of weeks, this time my 3-year-old has tested positive. They cannot be left home alone. This time my wife is off for 7 days. The last time I was off, that is twice in a number of weeks. We've been down a week's income. We've already used up a number of holidays. What are we to do? Only we are law-abiding citizens. I know so many have said to us to just forget about COVID if your child is not ill. Just continue to work. If everyone did this, where will it end? Yeah, indeed. And I'm sure maybe some people will... would they register a fake antigen test on the portal, and would you get a sick cert then? And maybe at least you'd get some income for not being at work. I don't know. That's what some people might do because people get desperate. We are in very difficult times at the moment, and to take time off work to look after an asymptomatic 3-year-old, you know, it's a big hit. Okay, it is the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. We will be getting the latest appeals and information from An Garda Síochána and Donegal after we take a break after the bingo numbers.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday the 29th of March. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S2. It's game number 13. The numbers are 81, 6, 12, 39, 79, 23, 38, 77, 68, and finally 22. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny. Stockists of a wide range of used passenger and commercial vehicles.
McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware, with stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ormccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
For indoor and outdoor fun, Tinny's Toys have something for everyone. From pedal and electric ride-ons to go-karts and scooters, there's loads of fun guaranteed. Also swings and slides, trampolines, goalposts, and so much more. If you have a kid's birthday coming up, Tinny's Toys can help make it special. Visit Tinny's Toys on Leck Road, Letterkenny, or shop online for express delivery at tinnystoys.com. Tinny's Toys, with so much more than just farm toys.
When you get the M&S app, you get the good stuff. Good stuff that comes from Sparks, the M&S reward scheme. Like personalised offers tailored just for you, easy breezy shopping and returns too. Good stuff like the chance to get your shopping for free, a donation to your chosen Sparks charity every time you shop. And good stuff like little treats because, well, who doesn't like a little treat every now and then? Download the M&S app today and get the good stuff. Terms and conditions apply. See marksandSpencer.ie for details.
Shop Closet London, Calvin Klein, Diesel, and many more of your favourite women's brands at evolveclothing.com.
Don't forget to make inquiries about the fantastic offers we currently have across the range of Nissan and Kia, with PCP options available on all new vehicles. We have your new car sitting ready to go. To find out more, call iMotors Letterkenny and Malin today on 074 9134 or visit imotors.ie. The Community Garda information is brought to you in association with Northwest Alarm Systems, incorporating Third Eye Fire and Safety. Is now your one-stop shop for security, fire alarm systems and fire training. Visit our website for more or call 074 97 21687.
You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, Tuesday morning. So that means it's time for the latest edition of Community Garda information. And from the Falcara Garda station, delighted to welcome into studio Garda Niall Maguire. Thank you very much for joining us, Niall.
Good morning, Greg.
Like the rest of us, I hope you've enjoyed the warm weather before it turns cold again.
Well, hopefully you're wrong.
Well, I've been wrong at least once before. Hopefully any cold snap will be fleeting. That's the only thing we can hope for. Rightio, let's get on to how the public can help with Garda investigations. And we'll start with an incident at Slieve Snacht in Letterkenny.
Yeah, a worrying incident, Greg, this particular one. The guards in Letterkenny, where they received a report on Saturday, just past the 26th of March, at approximately 9:15 p.m. at Slieve Snacht, Letterkenny. A lady had just parked her car at her home when she was approached by a group of male youths as they passed by. One of the youths then demanded that she hand over the car keys. The lady refused to hand over the keys and was subsequently and unfortunately assaulted by the male. She did not require medical treatment but was understandably very shaken by what had happened. The young ones took off on foot. The particular chap involved is described as being in his late teens, of slight build. He wore a top with the hood up, possibly grey in colour. He had a very slight, dark coloured moustache and was approximately 5'5" or 5'6" tall. I don't have any more than that at the minute, Greg. We appeal to anybody who is in the area and who believes that they may have seen this male or group of youths, or who may have captured him or them on dashcam. Please contact the guards in Letterkenny, 074 9167 100, or indeed for any of my appeals today, the Garda Confidential line may be reached on 1800 666 111.
Yeah, that needs to be nipped in the bud, no doubt about that. An assault now in the town park area of Letterkenny.
Yeah, not far from Slieve Snacht again, Greg. I don't know, could they be connected or not, but a different date now. This happened on Thursday, the 24th of March. Similar time, at 8:50 p.m. this time. A man was assaulted by a group of male youths, 67 approximately, at that location. This is the entrance to the town park. The man was punched to the ground and then received a number of punches when he was on the ground. He received injuries, but again, not life-threatening in nature. The group left the area on foot in the direction of the hospital car park. So again, anybody that can help us who may have seen this group of youths and know who they are in and around the town park between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. last Thursday, please contact the investigating Gardaí in Letterkenny on 9167 100.
All right, criminal damage now. Pointless, it's all pointless, but to what end? In Milford, tell us about this one.
Yeah, my colleagues in Milford are investigating at Golan, Milford. It's quite a rural area, Greg, between Wednesday the 23rd of March and Thursday the 24th of March. A Komatsu digger had been in use and was parked overnight at that location in Golan, where it was then damaged. The windows of the digger were smashed in with a rock. Again, if anybody can help us with that, I know I don't have a lot to go on there. It is a very rural area, but if anybody has any information or seen anybody suspicious around Golan between Wednesday evening and Thursday morning past, please contact my colleagues in Milford, 9153060.
All right, staying in is shown this incident in the Cock Hill Road area.
Yeah, unlike the previous appeal, this is in a built-up area, so hopefully someone has definitely seen this. This occurred on Wednesday past the 23rd of March at approximately 5 a.m. at St Ignace Terrace on the Cock Hill Road, Buncrana. The front window and the glass on the front door of a house in the area was smashed around that time. We appeal to anybody who may have travelled in the area of St Ignace Terrace, Cock Hill Road around the time and who had maybe dashcam footage. Please make it available to my colleagues in Buncrana. They can be contacted on 9320540 or indeed any Garda station.
All right, and that, as you mentioned at the top there, that confidential line available to people all the time as well.
Yes, and it's used quite often, that confidential line. Some people might be hesitant to use it, but it's very straightforward, and it's very welcome information for ourselves. You don't have to give your name or address or nothing.
You're looking out for your community as well as anything else. Okay,
that's what it's about, Greg.
Yeah, exactly. Now, on Garda Síochána, Fraud Week has kicked off. Fraud ever present; it never goes away, does it?
Yeah, it seems we're always harping on about it, but unfortunately, we're not going to stop appealing and giving information about it until we stop having victims, and we have these reports every week in Donegal, So yeah, I suppose the guards are doing the best they can, and they've launched this fraud awareness week yesterday, and each day we're dedicating a day towards a certain type of fraud and scams that are happening on a daily occurrence throughout the country. Also, Gráinne will be updating the Donegal Garda Facebook page. It's a good page to be maybe linked with and friended with. To kick off the week, information has been issued for employees in relation to fraudulent email payment requests, something you're very familiar with, Greg. And Garda Síochána is warning people in any business setting to be very wary of sending payments online, especially when asked to send money to new bank account numbers. Business email compromise fraud, which is known as invoice redirect fraud, as you know, Greg, is where a fraudster sends an email to a business or an individual and tells them that we have a new bank account and we want you to send this money to this new bank account. It can be very convincing.
Everything is the exact same. It looks like a legit invoice. Yeah. So, in other words, even the most eagle-eyed of accountants or whomever looks after the finances will look at this, and to all intents and purposes, it is a invoice, but the key change is the IBAN or the BIC code, and that is where the money gets redirected to these criminals.
Yeah, an IBAN can be checked via a Google search. So you can check the URL of the IBAN and the spelling. It's just a matter of doing like a Google search on this new number that they give you, and that'll give you the approximate location. So if this is going out of the country and you're dealing with a local company, well then the alarm bells need to start ringing right away. So there's a few controls that maybe we suggest that business might maybe adhere to and maybe take our advice on. So first off, as I say, be suspicious when automatically be suspicious when you're sending money to a new account. Delay the transfer while you phone the company to double check if the bank account is legit and that you're not dealing with a fraudster. And again, you can check these IBAN numbers on a Google search. If employees are using personal computers or laptops from home, please make sure their antivirus software is kept up to date. Businesses should have a robust policy and procedure to deal with payment results of this nature. Also, a good point, there should be multiple decision makers, not just one person. We've seen that in the past that maybe one clerical staff has maybe made multiple changes to things, and it could have been picked up on by a supervisor or a manager or a colleague. So if there's multiple decision makers to approve new payments or a trusted person at the supplier to view the request, if you're caught out, the first thing you do is contact your bank and ask for a recall and let them know what's happened as soon as possible, and then secondly contact the guards. Any Garda station at all will take a report.
And that's helpful, presumably, even if maybe they try and avert the fraud. Then got to get a better sense of what's happening.
Exactly.
Or if any new frauds are... Okay. Right, okay. And it's no harm for line managers, to call a meeting and say, look, this is happening, maybe use this week. This is happening. This is why we have to be careful.
It's just happening all the time, Greg, I'm afraid.
It's one of those things, though, I think, until you get stung yourself,
absolutely,
you don't really realise that it's happening, because these people are, and I'm not praising them, they're experts in what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to stay on top of it to spot it.
Greg, it's similar to your standard burglary. We attend burglaries all the time, and it's only after you're burgled that people then take their home security seriously. The following week, then that person is looking for cameras and for an alarm for their house. When it's too late at that stage.
Yeah, and they're very adaptable, because another scam, it's a HSE scam, or it's a scam purporting to be from the HSE. We've been talking about it all morning. Lots and lots of people have COVID. You don't know if someone has linked you as a close contact. So you know what I mean? We are sitting there vulnerable, and this is being exploited. Tell us a bit about this now.
Yeah, you may already have covered this, Greg, this morning. I wasn't listening now, but there's a couple of worrying ones here. Listen, are these connected to the HSE hack? I don't know, but certainly we're looking into it. There's two ones I have to bring your attention to. So the first one is what they call a smishing scam. And this is a scam where a person will receive a text message purporting to be from the HSE, and this particular case, the person receives a message saying you've been in close contact with someone who has contracted the Omicron variant. The message asks people to visit a malicious website, which we don't know is malicious, and then you have to order a PCR testing kit, and it all sounds fairly legit, but the link directs them to a website that is a clone of the HSE website. And if they select this book now option, they'll be directed to a personal details page that asks them to fill in private information. And of course, then they're looking for bank account details. And they're looking for payment of €2.39 in this case. But that's only an in to your bank details. That's to deliver your alleged test kit.
And I mean, it's an authentic amount of money. We're all familiar with, lots of people listening to the show will be familiar with how it used to be. It would be a letter or an email, and it was millions of euro in a lotto or an inheritance that you could have access to. These people just say, look, it's only $2.39.
Yeah.
Right? So you go, okay, that's fine. But once they have access to your account, they can clean it.
Exactly, yeah. They're really clever in the way they do it, and they manipulate our human nature,
Right, so what's the advice then?
Obviously, we're wary of all such text messages looking for any information from you. The HSE will never seek any form of payment for providing COVID tests. Never. Testing kits or vaccines, PCR tests, anything. They'll never look for any money for it. Never give away any personal data like your PIN, card numbers and passwords. If you've been a victim and lost money, again, similar to the businesses, do a bank recall, report it to the bank immediately, and then secondly contact the Gardaí.
And what they'll do as well too, sometimes they will say, please enter the first 2 digits of your PIN.
Yeah.
Right? People go, right, 2 digits, what are they going to do with that? Page refreshes, failed to load.
Yeah.
Please insert your third and fourth.
Yeah, that's happened
numbers of your
times,
PIN.
Yeah.
What have they got? They've got your PIN. And it they've got it in 2 stages. You don't know what's happening.
And even if they only have 3 digits of your PIN, you can guess the last one.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You only have a number, don't you?
Again, speak to elderly people that are maybe more vulnerable to this as well, that don't understand maybe and are afraid of sort of any kind of communication, text messages, emails, and reassure them too that, just contact the guards, and we'll help them through it.
All right. We also know there's lots and lots of people waiting for hospital appointments, or whatever it might. They're waiting on contact from the HSE. Have they got any sort of examples of how these fraudsters are exploiting that to try and fraud people?
Yeah, well, you've covered this in great detail, Greg, in relation to hospital waiting lists. It's the topic at the moment. It's a hot issue. There is one issue, one incident I want to highlight. There were a local lady in Donegal was waiting a date for a hospital appointment for her daughter. She received a call from a man that informed her that a date for her medical appointment had been arranged and her daughter at the hospital, and he was even able to provide her daughter's name and date of birth, which is quite worrying. He then requested a payment of €90. So, that might be convincing enough because, we do know that the hospital have charged.
It's £100 for the ED.
Exactly, yeah.
If you don't, if you haven't been sent there, it's
so,
in and
that's
around
a similar amount, yeah. So, people might believe that. Even though the caller was very convincing, thank goodness, the lady decided to check out the matter before making any payment. She returned a call to the caller's number later on the same day, only to discover that the number was totally unrelated to the HSE. She didn't provide any financial details to the caller. So I want to make your listeners aware of this type of scam, as many would be convinced by this type of call, especially when you're vulnerable in hospital appointments.
And they have details that you think, well, the HSE have this.
Yeah, where to get these details, I don't know, at this stage. When somebody provides your name, they even know you're on a waiting list and your date of birth. So I don't know where they're getting this information. So beware of cold calls. Always ask the caller their name and for their phone number. If you have any concerns, just hang up. Ring your bank service or the service provider, in this case the hospital, using a verified number. Never give away your personal or financial information. Definitely don't transfer money. The HSE will never look for money there and then on the phone or any bank details. get advice from a trusted person before taking any action. We're always asked the public to be suspicious of texts and calls asking for any new scams or text calls or emails to trick them into giving away their personal data. And if you have been a victim of a scam, change your passwords, PIN codes, and report it to your bank as soon as possible. Then it's reported to Gardaí.
Okay, doke.
Greg, the types of people that are falling for this would surprise you. There's tech people. Everybody. It's crazy. What's going on.
Yeah. By the by, I presume, have you getting a lot of reports of thefts from cars? I have seen 4 back windows, taped up on cars over the last 2 days. And I was thinking, hold on, maybe someone's left the keys, whatever it might be. You'd be better off smashing the windscreen than the back window because they're easier to replace. That's not advice, by the way. But I was thinking, 4 cars and all with back windows taped up. You know what I mean? I wonder is... I
haven't noticed. I haven't noticed a surge now, but certainly it's something that's always been there.
It's peculiar.
It tended, my experience, it tended to be in rurally isolated car parks and things, where maybe somebody has seen you getting out of the car.
Yeah, well, these are just people driving around. It's quite peculiar. I thought it was quite peculiar.
Yeah,
that's all.
But the basics still apply, Greg. Don't leave anything. 9 times out of 10, there's something left in the car that this person wants to see, or get. Lock it in your glove box or put it in your boot where it's covered. Leave nothing for them to.
And we've all been guilty of leaving stuff on the chairs, the seats when we shouldn't. Listen, anyway, Niall, thank you very much for that. That's Garda Niall Maguire there. He is with the Falcara Garda Station. Thank you. That was the Community Garda item for this Tuesday, the 29th of March, and it will be back for you, all being well, next Tuesday, just after the 10 o'clock news.
The Community Garda information is brought to you in association with Northwest Alarm Systems, protecting homes and businesses across the Northwest for 40 years. Now servicing fire alarm systems. Visit our website, or for more, call 074 97 216 87.
The 9 till noon show with Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny, where you can care for your Toyota with a 2-year service pack from €299.
Looking for a start? Or already served your time?
Need direction? Or looking to change yours?
Ready for a challenge? Or ready to challenge yourself?
Whether you're just starting out or looking to move ahead, the Irish Defence Forces have a diverse range of exciting and rewarding career opportunities across the Army and Army Reserves, Navy and Navy Reserves, and Air Corps apprenticeships, available right now. So whatever you want for your future, visit military.ie and see where it takes you.
With passengers boarding for the holiday of a lifetime, please go
Highland Radio wants to send you on the holiday of a lifetime.
Worth €10,000.
Plus $5,000 spending money. Woo!
Get your ticket now at highlandradio.com. Answer the question and start packing. Start packing.
Woo-hoo! Draw takes place April 14th on the 9 till noon show.
Start planning your ultimate getaway. Only on Highland Radio.
It's luxury for less this Easter with Lidl's inflation-busting offers. So spoil yourself with our delicious deluxe range. Like Board Bia approved 28-day matured Irish Angus rib on the bone was $14.49 per kilo, now just $10.79. And an indulgent salted caramel ice cream dessert, 600ml, only $2.99. Lidl, more for you.
For all your pharmacy needs and healthcare advice at this time, McGee's Chemist are here to help. Things may be a bit different right now, but you can always rely on McGee's. Prescriptions can be ordered over the phone or online at mcgees.ie, and you'll be contacted when it's ready for collection. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, and at mcgees.ie, here to help with your health and well-being.
Break free from the same old, same old. Join a community where people can grow and be at their best. Join ZincWorks and develop software for the biggest companies in the world, working with 5G and financial services. We value learning. We want you to be a better engineer every day you work with us. We value teamwork. We want you to learn from your peers and help your peers learn. We're hiring now for our new offices based in Letterkenny. See zincworks.com/careers.
New this week in Home Store and More. All towels are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price towels are gone, they're gone. Also, all Pyrex is still half price. But when all our half price Pyrex is gone, it's definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. And don't forget to check out our summer range of garden furniture, barbecues, solar lights, and much more. Home Store and More. A happy home.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. Councillor Martin McDermott will be joining us a little later on to answer your questions in relation to the MICA redress scheme, its status, what's going on a national level, at a council level, and on the ground. So if you have a question as it relates to the MICA redress process, please get in contact with us. You can text or WhatsApp 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. Now, by the way, I am aware that MAG are doing a questions thing, right? Okay, this is pure coincidence. We had Martin booked before that was announced, by the way. So this will complement it. It's not at odds with it, okay? But if you have any questions as it relates to, and also go on the Facebook page, and you can also enter questions there and maybe even get a bit more technical, you know what I mean? Go on the MICA Action Group Facebook page as well. But anyway, we had this scheduled already because we get lots of questions here. Some, quite not simple, but, might be more easily answered than others. But if you've got a question as it relates to the scheme, what's happening at the moment, what isn't happening at the moment, help me out too, because you're the guys in the know, all right? I'm just here to platform the conversation. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps or texts. Councillor Martin McDermott will be joining us to answer your questions, to discuss the situation at where we're at. Or you can call Caroline, by the way, if texting is not your thing, on 074 91 25,000.
9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny. Home of the new Pro A City, your perfect business partner.
Aldi has everything to make this Easter extra special. Delicious 4-packs of, that's got my name on it, Gronia's hot cross buns, 99¢. Bunches of, they're gorgeous, tulips, 4.99, in store April 14th. Award-winning, go on, why not? Toro Loco Superior red wine, 7.49. And 100% Board Bia quality assured. Get on my plate pronto. Irish full lamb leg, 8.99 per kilo. Aldi, the home of an amazing Easter. Get the facts, be drink aware, visit drinkaware.ie.
Central Auto Parts are now stocking Sunny, a water-based paint offering all up-to-date colours for all vehicles. And Celimix Commercial, the perfect paint for diggers, plant and machinery. Buy it today at Central Auto Parts, Portslink Business Park, Letterkenny. Find us on Facebook or call us on 074 9127 491.
Hello there, this is Daniel O'Donnell here, and I'm delighted to be able to tell you that we're coming back to the Millennium Forum in Derry for a couple of concerts. We're going to be there on Wednesday, August 31st and Thursday, September 1st. Both these shows are going to be taped for American television, so I hope you can join us. See you then. That's the Millennium Forum, August 31st and September 1st.
On the night of April 3rd, we'll all come together to fill out our census forms. And the information you provide will help show where essential services are needed in every part of the country. So on Sunday, April 3rd, be a part of Ireland's future. Be counted. Visit census.ie to find out more.
The Redcastle Oceanfront Golf and Spa Hotel would like to invite you to their wedding fair on Sunday, the 10th of April from 2 till 5 p.m. Meet the wedding team, top industry suppliers with breathtaking views, refreshments and more. One lucky couple will win a VIP 30-minute helicopter experience, followed by bubbly and dinner on the day. To enter, simply register at www.redcastlehotel.com and attend the wedding fair.
Okay, it's good to have you along with us this Tuesday morning. I do hope you're very well indeed. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp text number. Now, you may have watched the latest episode of the BBC's Murder in the Badlands. It focused on how child killer Robert Howard was able to get away with murdering Tyrone teenager Arlene Arkinson. It explored that in this film. You might remember, I'm sure you do, of course, because we've covered it extensively here on Highland over the years. Arlene Arkinson was just 15 years of age. She was seen in the company of Howard on the night of August 14th, 1994, when he picked her up along with her friend Donna Quinn to go to a disco in Bundoran. And despite police being told Arlene was last seen with Howard, he was not arrested and questioned by detectives until 46 days after her appearance. Now, last night's show heard from Arlene's sister Kathleen alongside journalists who covered the case and her family's ongoing fight for justice. Now, this Robert Howard, a very, very nasty individual indeed. Amongst those watching it was Sinn Féin's outgoing West Tyrone MLA, Manisha McHugh, who joins us now. Thanks very much for taking the call this morning. I appreciate it. Right, it laid out in stark terms the documentary last night, this case, a powerful documentary, a moving documentary, and I suppose, really laid bare the impact something like this can have on a family for the rest of their lives, really.
Yes, and actually what came across to me so powerfully in this documentary, again, was the integrity of the struggle of the Arkinson family. And the way they have conducted themselves in every respect in order to get at the truth in relation to Howard and that. And the many obstacles that seem to be placed in their way all the way along the line, in particular by the RUC and that at the time, that seemed to sort of, if anything, divert the attention away from Howard, and that to the extent that where that family, having lost their sister, quite rightly, as you have said, they have suffered tremendously by the actions of the security forces at that time, and the way that they would have carried out a search then again too on Kathleen's own home. Such a tremendous
that
experience.
Is damaging. the effects of that when you're seeking justice and to have that type of attention on your own property is unbelievable. As it relates to the police investigation, let's not forget Howard, a child rapist, and he was on bail at the time for a series of violent sexual offences against another teenager. This when he killed Arlene. If we go back to the investigation, though, at that time and the delay in speaking to him, he was alibied by his partner at that time, Pat Quinn. So, I mean, obviously a lot of time has passed and we can't really go back in time to look at it. Is that a defence, do you think, a defence for the police in their delay in speaking to this person? Because he was given effectively a rock-solid alibi, albeit from only one person he was in a relationship with.
Well, I don't think that is the case. What I found really intriguing last night was when the police in England were investigating another murder, that on the basis of an 18-second phone call, they were able to identify the name Howard, and through their own systems, stood away the very fact that he had a record as long as your arm in relation to child offences, sexual offences and so on, so that on the basis of that they were able to attach Howard both to the murder in England and then to what has happened in the Castleberg area as well. Now those same systems were available to the likes of the RUC and that in the north of Ireland, so that if they had have conducted their research at the very outset at the time that Ireland went missing, it was quite obvious by that stage that Howard had a record, that Howard was implicated in other
and the last adult to be in her company, which, you know, the last person to be in contact with the victim is obviously, you know, elevated to number one suspect. Add into that his history and the crimes he was guilty of or charged with, and you throw everything at that suspect, don't you?
So all the more reason that whilst one knows that we can't bring Arlene back, that yet and all the Arkinson family totally deserve a public inquiry into how that whole investigation was conducted by the RUC at that time. And I would totally support them. In that
because of course,
well
you know, Howard's dead, and he took Arlene's final well, we hope it's not her final resting place, but where she is, he took that information with him. There's no other, I mean, he's the only one we believe that knows where she is. That's pretty much accepted, isn't it?
Yes. Unfortunately, that is the case, and that the likelihood of any other evidence coming to light, you know, probably is very, very slim.
Yeah.
And especially too at that time, and what was put out in the programme, the very car that Howard was driving, and probably the car that would have been used for even, we'll say, the disposal of a body, that would have been subject to forensic evidence had they addressed this investigation in a proper way from the outset.
Yeah. So
that would have helped them to identify maybe a location.
Yeah. The flaws and the failings, finally, Manisha, the flaws and the failings of this investigation seem quite clear because you've just outlined them. At this point, then, what would an inquiry, you know, what would it achieve effectively?
At least, if nothing else, it would maybe bring some comfort to the Arkinson family, because what it was that they had been saying, what it was that they had been crying from the rooftops for long enough, that maybe even other people were wondering, well, you know, to what extent is there truth in all of this? But it was quite obvious from that programme last night that what Kathleen Arkinson has been saying from the outset, in terms of the way that the security forces had conducted themselves and what they subjected that family to as well, was horrendous in every respect. And that, as I said at the outset of this interview, the integrity of Kathleen's struggle deserves a public inquiry.
Yeah, okay. I think most people listening would agree with you. Thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. Melissa McHugh there, outgoing Sinn Féin rep for Tyrone.
The 9 till Noon Show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota. Test drive Toyota's incredible self-charging hybrid range at our showroom, Port Road, Letterkenny.
With the brighter days, it's only natural to think about freshening up the paintwork in our homes.
bringing colour and vibrancy to our living spaces. But the important thing isn't just the colours we choose, it's the paint. Fleet Wood use the highest quality ingredients for a richer colour and smoother finish that lets you wipe away the marks of everyday life. And it's Irish made, designed to work with the ever-changing Irish light. Would one range of paints transform your home? Fleet Wood would, naturally.
At Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure, we know a good pair of trainers makes all the difference. Whether you're running marathons or training for your first 5k, we stock all the leading brands, including Asics, Brooks and New Balance, with different styles and features to suit individual running needs. Call in store or shop online at michaelmurphysports.ie.
You might think you know Ireland's ancient East, but maybe it's time for a closer look. Uncover stories bold and brave where vibrant city nights follow action-packed days. Set course for countless adventures at Carlingford Adventure Centre, or roam wild in wonder in the Glen of Aherlow, and become captivated by the culture and craft of Kilkenny's cobbled streets. Ireland's ancient East, yours to explore. Keep discovering at discoverireland.ie.
Here at Pet Value St Mary's Road, Buncrana, we have some amazing opening offers. There's 25% of Royal Canine dog food and cat food. There's 25% of Beta and Gain dog food. And there's 25% of Red Mills Leader dog food. For all cat lovers, we have 90 cat pouches for an incredible €13.50. 12 premium cat tins for only €6. And Whiskas 40-pack only €15. All available while stocks last. Pet Value. It's all in the name.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Now flying to 19 destinations this summer with 7 days car parking from just €30 when you book online. Ireland West Airport. You're flying.
Good sunny spells will develop through the morning with scattered showers developing in the afternoon. Highest temperatures of 12 to 14 degrees in light north, easterly or variable breezes. Plenty to come in the next hour, including all your Micah redress scheme questions answered. Get them into us right now. But at 11 o'clock, it's news time. Good morning, Donal.
Thank you. Oh, I beg your pardon. Thanks, Craig. Good morning. Police in Derry remain at the scene of a security alert in the Campsie area following the discovery of a suspicious object on Clooney Road. They say the dual carriageway remains open, but the access road into the COVID test centre is currently closed. The HSE says hospitals are seeing a level of disruption they haven't seen before due to the current COVID surge. Over 1,600 people with the virus are currently being treated. Daily case numbers remain above 10,000. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly says the true figures are likely higher, with hundreds of thousands getting COVID every week. Meanwhile, the Health Minister is being urged to come to Letterkenny to see at first hand what's been described as the perfect storm that exists in the hospital and the pressure that staff there are under. The Taoiseach is hoping that peace talks between Russia and Ukraine can begin the process of a ceasefire. Teams from both sides are meeting in Istanbul for a fresh round of talks. It's over a month since Russian forces invaded Ukraine. Gardaí and Letterkenny are appealing for information on 2 assaults in recent days. A man was attacked at the town park on Thursday night last, while a woman was assaulted and an attempt made to steal her car in the Schlieve Schnocht area on Saturday night. The appeal for information was made on the 9 till noon show this morning. Full details on our website, highlandradio.com. Irish Water is again being urged to take over the Puriflow system at Dromore on the outskirts of Letterkenny. Locals say when the system overflows, it runs out onto the dual carriageway, and because Irish Water has refused to take it in charge, Donegal County Council has to empty it manually on a monthly basis. Councillor Jerry McMonigal says the situation can't continue. He says Irish Water must step up to the plate. And Gardaí are investigating a criminal damage incident in Golan Milford between 7 on Wednesday night last and 7 on Thursday morning. A Komatsu digger, which was being used, was parked overnight. It was damaged with windows smashed in with a rock. Anyone with information is asked to contact Gardaí. And Madeira warning temperatures are set to plummet after the country was basked in sunshine in recent days. It'll turn noticeably colder tomorrow evening with lows of -3 tomorrow night. There'll be showers at times as well, but Madeirans say there will be still a good deal of dry weather. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much indeed, Donal. Some of your comments here. Greg, I own a business in Inishowen, and this morning and yesterday I've been contacted by people saying they had a salesman call to their door selling pots and pans saying he knows me. implying he's attached to my business, and I sent him to them. Now, I've no contact with this man and would appeal to the public that regardless of who calls to your door, double check what he is saying before you make a purchase, as there may be no comeback. This has happened in the past before, and what happens is they find a very good, reputable company in a local area, and they'll come up with some spiel and they'll say, look, I'm calling to you from Greg Hughes Kitchens, and we're a new initiative where we're going out into the community and we've got special deals if you order today. It very, very rarely happens, and we've had it in the past, and they're at it again. So what happens is they know it's in any show, and so what do? They'll go to Glenties, or they'll go to Letterkenny, or they'll go to Lahey, or they'll go to Killybegs. Right, so they're in show today claiming to be representing a local business, but they are not. So if someone's called your house selling pots and pans, be very suspicious. They're exploiting you, and they're exploiting a reputable business that when you land back to them in 6 weeks and say, the handle fell off this pot that you sold me, they'll go, sold you? We never sold you that. Right, so just be careful. Just wondering about the breast care services in Letterkenny. On the waiting list was told it's a 4 or 5 month wait. Or is it 45 months or 4 or 5 months wait? 4 to 5, right, okay. That's not good. Hi, Greg. I'm after 20 years working in Letterkenny University Hospital. I'm now working in Sligo University Hospital. It is beyond belief the difference the way the two hospitals are run. Letterkenny management should spend a few weeks up here and learn a few things how to run a hospital properly. Interesting insight. It'd be great to even find some way of speaking to you in a off the record or masking your voice in some way or other to try and tease that out a little bit longer, because it's very hard to speak out from within the health service, impossible almost. Hi, Greg. If you need to go for an appointment to outpatients, you see trainee doctor, then they have to consult with the doctor you were supposed to see. This takes double the time. I think it's the same with hospital. All trainees and one general doctor on for the whole hospital. This, I know, was the way it was on bank holiday anyway. Our hospital's a total disgrace. Even workers would call an ambulance from Derry rather than use one for Letterkenny. Sligo don't have this. All right, this is a new narrative, probably an overused word that's developing here, that people are going out of the way to avoid Letterkenny and go to other hospitals. Tell us, is that the case? 08660 25,000. Overcrowding at Letterkenny Hospital is the cause of the ordinary doctors. You cannot get an appointment with them in our local towns. I put that very point to the general manager of Letterkenny University Hospital. I says to him, because this is what we were being told by listeners, is it the case that the difficulty in people seeing their own doctor is putting pressure on the ED? He says, not really. That's not really the case. Yet, from what I'm being told, people can't get an appointment in some doctors, and they're going straight to the ED with an older a parent or someone like that, or children. You don't want to roll the dice. We're being told all the time, get it checked, go and see someone. So what do? I was telling you, someone was told recently that they would have to wait till May to get bloods done. Can you imagine? No child should be left waiting in the ED when there's plenty of empty beds in the children's wards. Beds, you can put 1 million beds into that hospital. It's staff. Every bed requires a certain amount of staff. If not, what are we doing down the line where HICWA are involved? The hospital gets penalised or punished, or there's a big payout from the HSE. Staff. Beds are easy. Staff is the problem. Hi, Greg. My 93-year-old just received a charge of €30.89 from An Post for the delivery of a package. They say it's from customs. What is that all about? Well, it's probably exactly that. Unfortunately, since Brexit, if you order certain things online, now the scammers are at this as well, by the way, but if you order certain things online before it's actually released to you, you have to pay a customs charge. It's Brexit related. Hi, Greg. There will be no way I'll be wearing a mask again. Life is for living. We had 2 years locked down for that. Thanks. For what? Thanks. Saved many, 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 many lives is what we did collectively. I don't think there's any appetite for anyone to go back to wearing masks. Some people, though, believe it should be done. But as I said, Europe-wide, there are countries that have quite strict mask mandates. They're in a similar situation as to what we are, and it seems the public health advice to the Minister Stephen Donnelly is that in and of itself, masks or social distancing is not going to stop this variant from spreading. So it doesn't seem like it's on the cards at this point, but who is to say? All right, okay. Now, we are going to be returning to the issue of parking at Mahara Beach. You know, you go past the waterfall, you go on, you can walk down the boardwalk to the beach, beautiful cliffs over to your left. Not cliffs, but there are cliffs. Beautiful views. But you know, the caves, right? But there was parking there, casual parking, I think. It was removed. Okay, and it's a jewel in the crown of Ardra. We're going to be speaking to Stephen McCahill after this break to find out what's going on.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny. Explore our wide range of virtual tools at kellystoyota.com.
There are so many ways to enjoy fresh Irish hake for everyday or weekend meals. Like mouth-watering baked hake with a herb dressing or delicious hake risotto with basil. Irish hake is high in protein and low in fat, so it's always a healthy, nutritious option. And it's landed fresh every day, so you're supporting local fishermen too. Ask for Irish hake at your local supermarket or fishmonger. And for great recipe ideas, visit boardbia.ie/fish.
Store and Go Springtown Dairy, the north of Ireland's only temperature-controlled smart access individually sized storage units.
Store and Go offers storage for personal storage, house moves and renovations, business storage for excess stock or filing systems. Once signed up, you can access 24 hours a day through an app on your phone, gaining access through 4 levels of security to your most precious possessions.
Call Store and Go Springtown Dairy on 02871 278 900 to discuss your needs and get bespoke advice, or get a free quote at storeandgo.net.
Most business ideas start with a dream, a desire to do things differently. A lot of business ideas end there too. If you have an idea you want to turn into a reality, Enterprise Ireland's New Frontiers programme can help. Together with your local institutes of technology and technological universities, it provides support and funding for early-stage entrepreneurs to help with everything from testing your idea to implementing your business plan. Applications for your region are now open. Visit newfrontiers.ie. Enterprise Ireland's New Frontiers. Turn dreaming into doing. Supported by the Government of Ireland.
Take It to the Limit is a celebration of the Eagles by Johnny Brady, Simon Casey, Nigel Connell and the Sheeran family. You can hear Take It to the Limit for one night only at the Millennium Forum Derry on April 14th. That's Johnny Brady, Simon Casey, Nigel Connell and the Sheeran family band as they perform Take It to the Limit, a celebration of the Eagles on Easter Sunday, April 14th. Tickets are £28 now on sale from the theatre box office or online from millenniumforum.co.uk.
Okay, so from wherever you're driving to in this county or from outside it, even the drive itself to Ardra is something to behold. Then you have the beautiful town itself. And if you want to go out to Mahara Beach, check out the waterfall first. It is just a wonderful experience. We spoke to Thomas last week. He's a regular visitor to the county, regular visitor to Ardra and Mahara Beach. And he noted the lack of parking, right? And Stephen McCahill joins us on the programme now from Ardra. Stephen, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Not too bad at all. Now, I think really what happened here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, in this day and age, a casual approach to providing services, it's not practical anymore. We're very litigious, there's lots of reasons. So tell us what the situation was and is now, Stephen.
Well, for the first time, the council are proactively looking at that whole area of Lecunnell, Mahara, Glengesh Pass. That whole area is part of a new programme of works to be done over the next number of years. And it is, as you said, a jewel in the crown of Donegal, and that whole area needs development. And that is happening in the area. But in relation to Mahara, the Mahara area, there was a privately supplied, private car park there, and that has now been refurbished and is opened again to the public. And now the credit has to go there to the family because they're supplying a service there.
But there was a time, sorry, just to make sure, Thomas wasn't mistaken, there was an issue with parking there for a time though, was there?
Oh yeah, it's just there was an adjustment there. The man that owned that premises sadly has passed away, so it's moved into new ownership now. So there was an adjustment period there, and that was a very short period. Now it's sorted, and
Brilliant.
The car park is open there. The car park, the the back car park closer to the Mahara Beach is now in operation. And to be thankful to the family, because bear in mind, the council have never supplied a car park there. There's never been a car park there. It's one of the most beautiful places in Ireland, yet there's no facility there. The facility's been supplied by a private family. And also bear in mind that the families down there, they're a very quiet, lovely people down there, and they're sheep farming and all that, and it's a lot of pressure on them at this time of the year was the traffic and that, and it's great that somebody has taken the initiative to open a car park facility there to give a facility to the visitors. So all is good in Mahara.
Okay, and it is beautiful, Stephen, isn't it? Even as a local, I presume you go out there from time to time.
Yeah, well, look, when somebody comes along or when somebody comes into the bar or into the hotel, where do you send them? Mahara is just heavenly, and there's so much good work going on there now. The council are very proactive and looking at developing the walkway. There's a fantastic walkway from Letterkenny to Meath-na-Shask, and you're up at the top over the waterfall, looking down on an unbelievable view. You see back to Errigal, you see down to Rossbeg and down into Portnew and right on. It's just one of the most heavenly natural walks in the country.
Yeah.
And thankfully people have identified that now. We don't want to make it too commercial, but we want to make it nice, and that's the plan there now, to develop that whole area. The waterfall is fantastic. Again, like the waterfall is in private ownership there, and the man that owns it has been very kind to allowing people there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues. And those people, don't forget, they're paying insurance there, public liability. Now, they're not getting a refund for it. So even the man that has a car park in Mahara, he used to pay maybe £4,000 or something for insurance there. So that has to be brought into play when people talk about it's costing them to park or anything like that. You have to bear all those factors in mind.
Is there a charge for parking there now?
There probably will be, I would imagine, because it's a private owner that owns it, and he has to pay public liability. So there's no reason why he shouldn't. I presume so. I haven't been down there yet, but I would imagine and would expect it, because.
Yeah. But I mean, also too, though, what opens up the question, the wider point, though, Stephen, too, that a lot of people like this landowner and others, the waterfall and places all around the county. These are private individuals that could find themselves could find themselves in court or something if someone decides to take a case. So it's about respecting them too, because that's a narrow road as well. And at the time of year, it's lambing season. It's about us understanding that and being respectful.
Yeah. Wonderful people in that area. They're so accommodating. They're so welcoming. They're always facilitating people at all times. They've been more than helpful from a tourism point of view, from an Ardra point of view. And it's the place we put people. We just pour them down there, and they go down there, and they do a great job. So they do, really. But it's just that I'm glad that the council now, Greg, are really looking positively at developing the area. And what's the cooperation of the people in the area?
Has to be sensitive, Stephen. You touched on that before. Whatever we do, we don't want to over commercialise or whatever. We want to maintain the rugged beauty of it, but of course then provide the essential services. Exciting times. It's going to be a busy year, I think.
It's a wonderful year. I think it's, we had the St. Patrick's Day parade in Ardran. I really don't think we've ever seen bigger crowds, but it just, people want to get out. They want to get into the open air. They want to get talking to people again. They want to get meeting people. And, this week has probably proved it to us all, the beauty of this area, the lovely weather we got. Thank God we got such beautiful weather. But we have such a beautiful place. We need to protect it. We need to care for it. And we need to care for others.
Yeah, okay, listen, brilliant stuff. Thanks for the update, Stephen. I apprate it greatly. Take care. See you soon, hopefully.
Yeah, thanks, Greg, for calling us over.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Stephen McCahill there. Okay, we'll be back with more shortly.
The 9 till Noon Show, brought to you by Kelly's Toyota. With over 45 years of experience, trust us to help you on your electric journey.
It's not just that Sarah can't rely on the rains to come this year. It's not just that the only water left could cost her life. It's not just that she has seen all her crops destroyed and she is struggling to feed her little boy. Like thousands of parents living in regions devastated by drought, Sarah is living in fear, and it's not just. This Lent, your love can make all the difference. Visit Trocra.org or call 1800 408 408. Trocra, until love conquers fear.
Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny now has even longer opening hours. Try Kelly's Early Bird Breakfast, one of their great lunch specials, or a renowned Jake's Burger. Kelly's famous steak specials are available every Saturday from 3, with an 8-ounce succulent steak and all the trimmings for just €11. New extended opening hours now in Kelly's award-winning diner at Mountaintop Letterkenny. Check out Facebook for details.
This year in Home Store and More, we've more for your garden than ever before. We've a great range of garden furniture, rattan corner sets, dinner sets, gazebos and much more. We've barbecues, gas, charcoal or smoker, all 33% off. Be warm and cosy with our selection of outdoor heating, also 33% off. And enjoy those longer evenings with our range of solar lights and garden decor. Visit us in store or shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Make your garden your sanctuary. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Hop into Easter with Dunnes Stores. Mix and match from our 3 for 2 range to serve up a feast. Choose from selected Italian charcuterie platters, tear and share breads, delicious olives, and a selection of gourmet cheeses. Buy any 2 products and get the third free. Plus, with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher, you save even more, which means every trip to Dunnes Stores means better value. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Here at Pet Values in Mary's Row, Buncrana, we have some amazing opening offers. There's 25% of Royal Canine dog food and cat food. There's 25% of Beta and Gain dog food. And there's 25% of Red Mills leader dog food. For all cat lovers, we have 90 cat pouches for an incredible €13.50. 12 premium cat tins for only €6. And Whiskas 40-pack only €15. All available while stocks last. Pet Value. It's all in the name.
Okay, welcome back to the programme. We welcome onto it now Eamon McGee, who's coordinator of Climb Errigal Together. Now, this is a series of events that's taking place across the region, across the country, in fact. So tell us about Climb Errigal Together, Eamon.
Morning, Greg. Climb Errigal Together was a kind of initiative between Kieran Brogan and several people from the locality after the Charlie Bird thing. And then we have a group in as well in the west, Stephen O'Donnell and them. They were pushing for something, so we decided on to do Errigal. We pushed on and just drew up a plan to do whatever we were going to do on the week.
Because there's a lot of coordination, organisation planned for something like this, particularly with Errigal and access and getting people up and down safely and allowing as many as is possible to participate.
Well, we're looking at something like maybe between 500-600 people coming, and more maybe. I don't know what that's between registration and people that are not registered, but we hopefully that they will all. But our plan is on the day is we're registering. We're with the Dunlewy community. We have a base camp in Dunlewy, and we're going to register them in the morning. We then shuttle all to the base of the mountain, and they can climb the mountain then and take them back down again. And we don't intend to have any parking at all near the base of the mountain, so that's one of the bases.
So the shuttle bus service is the key factor here. Rolling up and trying to park at the base of the mountain, that's being discouraged. You're asking people instead to congregate. Where did you say?
In Dunlewy.
In
Dunlewy Centre. There's a wee community centre in Dunlewy, and they hopefully that we will gather, and we have plenty parking available there, and they will have marshals and people available to coordinate all the parking, and that's there.
So, I mean, obviously, as we were talking about this yesterday as well, a lot of people were moved by Charlie's appearance on the Late Late Show. He discussed his motor neuron disease diagnosis and his journey with that. He's obviously also a big advocate for positive mental health. So he's doing his thing for the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association and Pieta, and at least 150 around this area, I believe, isn't it? Nationally, 150 nationally. I don't know how many in this area of climbs and walks. Climb with Charlie have been organised, and I would imagine this Climb Errigal Together is going to be one of the biggest in our area, Eamon.
Well, we I think so, but there are other smaller groups as well, and you know, and they're doing their wee bits, maybe not as high a climb, but Errigal now is a fair task to take on.
It's 2K up.
It's
2K
it's over
down.
to. I'd say about a turnaround of maybe something like 3 hours from me leave till you're back
Yeah.
again.
So, I mean, there are going to be people that have done this before. There's going to be people that haven't done it before. So, I think people need to be aware of the challenge. It is a challenge, and you need the right gear with you.
Oh, definitely so. It is a challenge now. Probably footwear would be the footwear and kind of not too heavy clothing, but enough that that keeps you warm anyway on the mountain, because it will the temperature will change as you're going up the mountain. People will find that as well, so
bring water and whatnot with you. And by the way, if you are involved in organising one of these climbs or walks, get in contact with us, by the way, and we'll be happy to share those details for you. In fact, listen, I might just mention it here now that a climb with Charlie, and remember Diddler for IMNDA and Pieta House takes place. It begins on Saturday the 2nd of April at 11 a.m. from the road opposite Callahan's Motorway Stores, making our way from there to the top of Greenon. And they're asking as many people as possible to park in Newtown at the Hall School area, as there'll be a shuttle bus running to the starting point. The first bus will leave Skullcolumkill at 10:30 a.m. and then again ferry everyone back at the end. And to anyone travelling from a different direction, please feel free to join in at any point along the route. Refreshments will be served. Adults €10, children are free. It can be paid directly to an iDonate page. Just search Emma Dillon 737. Of course, Diddler was a guest on this programme. Very well thought of and very fondly remembered. So that's just another one of these walks that's taking place. Because something happened, didn't it, Eamon, in that the way Charlie spoke on the Late Late Show, it was almost instant that people thought, right, we need to do something and we need to get involved.
Seem to have been, and it's amazing the amount of people that, it's only from something that does come out that you realise that there's people so close to you and that live that have and passed away from it, so it is one of them probably disease that they're fighting, and it's not an easy one to fight.
No, it's not. And then of course obviously Pieta to benefit from this as well. Right, so that's on Saturday. I always get confused when it's early in the next month as to when it's happening, but this is Saturday. So yes. Tell us how events will unfold on Saturday. Just any information I may have missed out, Eamon.
What we would be intent to do, we register, starting registration from 8:30 in the morning, and then the first bus or wave will be going on the mountain from 9 o'clock on. And there will be people, we have registered people, but we're inviting people that even hasn't registered, just come and you can register on the morning or the day and Dunlewy Centre, and we'll facilitate them to the mountain and back again.
Yeah, and I mean obviously we're talking a lot of people, they can't all go up at once, so things will have to be staggered.
Well, they will be staggered, and we'll have people also on the mountain monitoring the hill and see how people are how it's reacting on the hill. The Red Cross is there. We have the Garda involved in it. We have
Donegal Mountain Rescues
there, and we have different people in our own clubs. There's a couple of sporting clubs and the motor club, and have all come together, and we're getting plenty of help on it.
All right, and you can register on a website. This is a specific website for this particular climb. It's called climbErgleTogether.com. And thanks to Michael Murphy and his team at Michael Murphy Sport, everyone who completes the climb or takes part in the climb will be presented with a medal sponsored by the same Michael Murphy Sports, which is nice. It's a nice memento.
It's a nice wee touch, yeah.
Exactly.
And everybody, as they register, will be getting a goodie bag as well to go, as something for them to have with them on their journey to the mountain.
Right, so hopefully the weather plays ball.
Hopefully so. It's looking good anyway. It's looking good. It might be a wee bit cooler, but we just have to be properly prepared for it.
Yeah, exactly. And as you say, there's going to be a lot of experts there between Donegal Mountain Rescue and others. They know what they're at. They're trying to keep things moving. They're trying to keep things safe. You're, I presume, inviting people to listen to their direction as well.
Of course, yeah. As always we do.
Radio. So people assemble from 8:30 at Dunlewy Community Hall.
Community Hall in Dunlewy.
Brilliant stuff. Okay. And there's parking there. Loads of parking, by the way. You'll be shuttled to the base of the mountain and shuttled home. You won't have to thumb either.
And there will be tea and stuff afterwards as well for anybody in Dunlewy as well.
Great stuff. Okay, so Climb Ergo together, go to it. If that's the one that you want to choose, as I say, any of you out there organising similar events, get in contact with me and I'll make sure to publicise as many as I can. But it's going to be an important special day on Saturday, Eamon, just no doubt about that.
It will be indeed.
Okay, there's a bus leaving Drumkeen at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning to Climb Ergal. If you want to join, so they're feeding into into your event. If you want to get a bus from Drumkeen from 9 a.m., Sandra will facilitate a lift for you there. 087 955 3398. On Saturday the 2nd of April, Glengad Community Association and Malin Community Association together with Wild Alpaca Way are holding a day of fundraising for motor neuron disease and Pieta House in support of the national campaign. The first walk from 10 a.m. from the bottom of Crua Mountain, Glengad, all the way to the top with the alpacas leading the way, and you can take in the spectacular panoramic views of... I'll be too busy trying to get me breath. Stupid. I can't see. To take in the views, but anyway. You can take in the views overlooking the Atlantic, Innistrahal Island, North Inishowen, as far as the Western Isles of Scotland. Second walk, 3 p.m. on Knockamanny Bends, Malin again led by the alpacas to the top. Enjoy more spectacular views of the Atlantic, Glasheddy Island, Bonba's Crown, all the beautiful peninsulas of North Donegal and Tory Island. Donation buckets will be available at the event on the day and in Lafferty Shop, Glengad, Malin Post Office and Seaview Stores, Malin Head. Eamon, listen, best of luck with the Climb Ergo together. I think it's going to be one of a number of very successful events this Saturday.
Thank you.
All right, take care of yourself, all right?
Okay.
And if you want more information on that climb, go to climberigaltogether.com.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny. Explore our wide range of virtual tools at kellystoyota.com.
With passengers boarding for the holiday of a lifetime, please go
Highland Radio wants to send you on the holiday of a lifetime.
Worth €10,000.
Plus $5,000 spending money. Woo!
Get your ticket now at highlandradio.com. Answer the question and start packing. Start packing.
Woo-hoo! Draw takes place April 14th on the 9 till noon show.
Start planning your ultimate getaway. Only on Highland Radio.
Donegal Hearing Clinic, now open at Pierce Road, Letterkenny and Buncrana, now offering state-of-the-art rechargeable hearing aids free with your PRSI. Also pain-free microsuction wax removal services. Call 07491 88470 or donegalhearingclinic.ie. Life sounds brilliant with Donegal Hearing Clinic.
Century Complex is the perfect family day out. Kids will love exploring Century Play. There's lots of tasty options available at Backstage Bar and Grill. And at Century Cinemas, we're showing entertaining kids movies, rom-coms, actions, adventure movies, dramas and more. Call us on 074 9121 or visit centurycinemas.ie.
Milford Tiles, Wood Flooring and Bathware. Milford Retail Park now open. Large range of wall and floor tiles on display and in stock. Over 70 different laminate floors to suit every pocket. Tilers and wood fitters available. New Bathware showroom now open. Milford Tiles, Wood Flooring and Bathware. 083 091 0707.
Break free from the same old, same old. Join a community where people can grow and be at their best. Join ZincWorks and develop software for the biggest companies in the world, working with 5G and financial services. We value learning. We want you to be a better engineer every day you work with us. We value teamwork. We want you to learn from your peers and help your peers learn. We're hiring now for our new offices based in Letterkenny. See zincworks.com/careers.
Right, apologies, just grabbing some more of your announcements. We, the Easter Monday Parade Group and the Saddle Rock Cycling Club are climbing Schlieve Schnacht on Sunday from Carndonna. Anyone who wants to join, 086 830 6304. A bus service is in operation and we are going to try, of course, and get as many of those mentioned for you as possible. We'll try and retain the numbers as well because I think you know our number at this stage. Right, okay, now we are joined on the programme by Martina Barrett. Hi Martina, how are you keeping?
Hi Greg,
It's good to have you with us. You are
Thanks
the
for having me.
Tavern Kilclooney in Port New. Right. Now, Heather Humphreys, Minister Heather Humphrey, launches new pubs as community hubs pilot programme. What's this about, Martina?
It's a new initiative that the VFI and the Department of Rural and Community Affairs have developed. So it's basically to support the use of rural pubs as community spaces and hubs for particular local services. As in, the launch last Friday was in a pub in Cavan. So the owner there, their pilot scheme is going to be a cinema that will use space in their pub during the day for the elderly people, and then her plan is to extend that into evenings and weekends. But it's basically to find ways of using the rural pub during quiet spells, but while still, functioning as a
So they're located in the community already. They probably, a lot of them might have a larger lounge or maybe a dance hall or whatever it might be, utilising that space. Is this separate to the business of pubbing, if you know what I mean? Like, is this a case whereby you might organise an event and everyone can have a pint at it, or is it to separate from the alcohol element of it?
It's to separate from the alcohol element, because there's lots of rural pubs, as you say, have all these extra spaces. So it's to make use of that as a separate entity to your functioning pub.
But that being said, it hopefully would make pubs more viable to sort of, because we're seeing quite a few closures, aren't we? To make them more viable. In other words, and maybe another revenue stream to support the business, whilst also, of course, supporting the community.
Oh yes, totally. It'd be brilliant if the two ran together. Yeah.
Yeah, and we all know our way to the pub as well, so we wouldn't have any bother getting there. One would hope, Martina. Come here. What do you hope to do in the tavern?
We're hoping to incorporate the local country market. It runs. It's been running for over 10 years in a local hall. So I have a large car park, which would make life a lot easier for them. I have a lot of outdoor space, and it runs every Saturday for the summer months, but the hope would be that maybe would extend to other weekends.
Right, so it's also a place for people to sell their wares as well, if they're local producers or growers or whatever.
We have an awful lot of local bakers, crafters, that it gives them somewhere to sell their products locally.
Yeah, and other pubs are being used as part of this initiative. Other pubs are being used as digital hubs for business.
Yes.
Community cinemas as well, which you can see.
Yes.
You can see how that would work. Book clubs, art and crafts workshops, and community meeting spaces. Do you think you might expand what you're doing, or is all the focus now at the moment, from the tavern's perspective in Port New, getting the country market up and running?
Initially the country market, but as you say, there's potential to then extend to lots of different options.
Yeah, and this is not a new idea. I think this runs quite successfully over in Britain.
It does,
yeah,
yes.
Okay. Listen, it's all very interesting. We'll see how it goes. I like the whole idea of the country market. There was one already there. Is this just being seen as maybe a better or alternative location for it, Martina?
Yes,
okay.
It is. Yes.
So you're pushing an open door. The stalls are there and the people are there. It's just connecting them.
Yes, exactly.
All right, great stuff. Well, listen, best of luck. I look forward to hearing how that goes for you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Take care, and thanks for helping us explain that. I appreciate it. That's Martina Barrett there, who is of the Tavern Kilclooney in Port New. And as part of this initiative, I'll be honest with you, hadn't heard about this before, but they're going to be using pubs as community hubs, be it digital hubs, as I say, cinemas. It can be hard to get to the cinema sometimes, depending where you're living. We have great cinemas, but Bundoran, Letterkenny and Lifford, and those are the three areas, aren't they? If you're not very, very close to them, say you're in Killybegs or you're in Ardra, we mentioned earlier, or Dunlow, might be interesting, wouldn't it? If the big enough screen, plenty of popcorn. That's just one use these pubs might be used for. Do you agree with that? Maybe, are you concerned that maybe it's harnessing sort of the drink culture, maybe. I don't know. They're good spaces. They're in the communities already. And, if it helps secure their futures and jobs and what have you, I think it sounds on the face of it a good idea. I rang the GP last week from 10:30 a.m. and at 2 p.m. I just thought enough is enough. I went into the surgery. A few hours later, the GP did call me back. This is half the reason the ED is full, believes the listener. Another, I'm leaving Letterkenny Hospital rehab today. I've been in hospital seriously ill since the 22nd of November. I'd like to thank and pay compliment to all the staff in both Letterkenny and Galway hospitals for the care and attention I received. I never heard staff complain once. That comes in from Jim. Jim, what a journey you've been on. 4 months odd, isn't it? A little over 4 months. You've been ill. Delighted that you're getting home, and hopefully you're well on the road to recovery and continue on that road. Hi, Greg. Great show. The government need to stop blaming COVID and a war. This is going on for years and years. Put their big boy pants on, sort out the health system out. If they can't, step aside and let someone else do it. Well, listen, come here. Do you remember, and this is not relevant to us, but I think a lot of us kept an eye on it, the big Partygate scandal. When we were over in London, we went to Downing Street. No parties were happening at all. Very disappointed. But anyway, do you remember the big scandal about that there? I remember I put on Facebook, I'll eat my hat if Boris Johnson sees the weekend. It was like, his world was going to tumble down. It could even have brought the government down. Nonsense now. Since the crack in Ukraine started, not the crack, sorry, I beg your pardon. That sounds terribly disrespectful, but you know what it feeds into my point. In other words, it's distraction. Since that awful invasion in Ukraine started, they're dishing out the fines today. The police are dishing out the fines, fixed penalty notices for Partygate and all surrounding it and the investigate. Not a word in it, not a pip, because it's all gone away. Because obviously the war and fuel prices and everything else has taken over the conversation. What once was a thing that seemed it could have brought the British government down, it could have ended the career of Boris Johnson, is now a footnote. Nothing is going to come of it at all because obviously we're distracted by everything else. That's how it works. Maybe it's our fault as well as citizens that we just let these things slide when something else comes along. I don't know. But anyway, what once seemed like it could bring down the British government is now barely even news. Fixed penalty notices going out. It's going to go under the carpet. And even some within the media saying, look, we'll play this down because, we don't want to weaken Boris Johnson because he's being seen as, the big adversary to Putin, one of them anyway, between him, Biden and European leaders, and that it would be almost, anti-British to weaken Boris Johnson at this time. Wait till you see the coverage of it. Maybe some media will go big on it. I imagine it'll be quietly buried. Is vaping allowed indoors? Asked a caller. My daughter recently went to a disco and was shocked by the volume of people using a vape indoors. If you have any insight into that, let us know. Good morning. I didn't see the slap at the Oscars, but here's the thought. This show is all about actors. These two guys are award-winning actors. How do we know this wasn't a publicity stunt for the two boys who, being actors with large egos, seem to never get enough attention? I don't know. Me and Michael Eddy were talking about it yesterday. If it was a publicity stunt, it was crap. Another caller says, am I the only one who thinks that the Academy has now said male violence is okay? Will Smith should be stripped of his Oscar. It's a very fair point. If he went up and did that to a female, I mean, the stage would have been barged and he would have been, I get that. I understand where you're coming from. Am I the only... I just read that one. People keep a second home, so as family who live overseas or in another country have a place to stay on holiday. Yeah, indeed. Another, ESB always advised to keep away from power lines. If a branch or tree you are cutting down falls onto power lines, you risk death by electrocution. Of course you do, but that follows on presumably from the question yesterday. Someone is a private landowner. They have got trees that are now beginning to reach power line levels, and the question was, is it the landowner's responsibility to cut them down? Is it the ESB's or is it the council? Now we know why it wouldn't be advisable for a landowner to go chopping at those trees, but we're no closer to an answer as to who ultimately is responsible, because during a storm those trees might fall, take the power down. Good morning, Greg. Lovely day again. Just wondering about the census next week. What happens if you're not at home on Sunday? What do we do regarding our form? Thanks everyone, enjoying the show. Well, I believe you would fill in the sections as it applies to people who are normally there, because I looked at it yesterday. I don't fancy taking it on. Can you pay someone to fill out the census form. There's so many words and boxes. First thing I did, I thought, right, I'll get a start on this. Bit of massive tick, and then I saw that you're actually only supposed to do a line. I don't know, but there is sections that you fill out that answers questions about people that might ordinarily be in the house. So maybe that answers that question.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny, with offers on a wide range of passenger and commercial vehicles.
If you'd like to save on your home printing costs, switch to a cartridge-free printer. Raymond Sweeney here from Ben Sweeney Euronics to let you know that Epson EcoTank printers can save you up to 90% on the cost of ink. They're different to most printers because they use an ink tank that's easily filled with a bottle instead of using cartridges. Save money and time with an Epson EcoTank printer at Ben Sweeney Euronics Port Road, Letterkenny and the shopping centre Dunlow.
Ben Sweeney Euronics. We deliver, we install, we care.
Alcohol and other drug use can be very difficult for family members. If you have a loved one whose alcohol or other drug use is negatively impacting your life, reach out for support and information. Alcohol Forum Ireland have a family support service in Donegal and are there to offer help and support. Call us on 085 830 7066. Alternatively, you can call the HSE Alcohol Helpline, free phone 1800 459 459. When you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Help is out there. This ad has been supported by Letterkenny Community Action on Alcohol and by the Healthy Ireland Fund, supported by the Department of Health and the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth.
Hart apparently chose this site because it has a sort of microclimate, because we're in a real valley here. And he thought that because of his interest in botany, he thought he could do something with that. We purchased the location, not the house, and we didn't even know there were gardens here of any interest.
Okay. That's Down the Garden Path, a new series Wednesday nights on Highland Radio, after the news at 8 p.m.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Gatwick's back. You can now fly daily to London Gatwick with Aer Lingus, the perfect gateway to explore South London. Ireland West Airport, you're flying.
Okay, so let's have a look. Good sunny spells developing as the morning wears on, with scattered showers in the afternoon. Highest temperatures 12 to 14 degrees. Those winds light northeasterly and all variable. Right, okay, we're going to talk about the MICA redress scheme as it is, or where we're at. Lots of you texted in. We're going to try and get to as many answers as we can. Councillor Martin McDermott will be joining us in a moment. First, we're joined on the programme by Pavan Meehan, aka the Lone Wolf. Good morning to you, Pavan. Thanks for joining us.
Great. Thanks for taking the call.
No problem at all. Right, you've a couple of questions as it relates to this scheme. What are they? And as less technical as possible, Pavan. I know it's very technical, but...
No, I won't go any technical or anything. What I'm really saying, I want to make a appeal to the surveyors and the builders out there, and I hope that you will join me making the same appeal. See now that graph table that was brought out by the SCSI, now
Yes.
the figures that are there, great. Now, when I'm talking to builders, they say they're not matching the rebuild prices at all. And we have nothing to compare them prices to. And what I'm feeling now to surveyors is if they can come up with the same table independently with the right prices, or if there are builders out there, I know myself, Greg, that there's no surveyor going to come out publicly with their names on it. But what I'm saying, if it could be done discreetly, through yourself, that we can compare any of them prices.
So do you believe that the prices that have been set, you couldn't rebuild a property for those prices? You believe that they underestimate the costs?
Oh, no, definitely. I'll give you the one example of a 270 square metre, which is 2,900 square feet. And they're saying that you can build that at 145. Now, I was talking to a builder and I wanted him to come on your show, but he says, I'm very sorry, I can't come on. And he says, why not? He says, look, I do subcontract work for other contractors and they're doing government work, and if I come on as we finish.
Yeah, I
but
get that.
I give the example now of the 145 a square foot. He says to me, you need 180 a square foot for even the 2,900 square feet. And even people don't understand, the cap and the sliding scale is still there because 2,900 square feet, you're only getting 421. What about the man that has the house at 3,500 square feet? Maybe he'd be out 80,000 euros. That's all right, Greg, if you have 80,000 euros. But what about the man that doesn't have it?
And there are obviously houses much bigger than that.
Well, I'll give you an example. In my house alone, like if you go down 4,000 square feet and you multiply that by 180, they're giving me 420. So I've been punished for building a big house. And yet,
have you estimated how much yours might cost to replace?
Well, I got two prices. One guy says 600, one says 700,000. They says we're not counting your tiles or your underfloor heating pipes, which is another 60,000 euros on top of that. So
you'd be pushing $1 million maybe by the time everything's.
But I don't have $1 million. That's the problem. And there are people out there, Greg. I have met countless people that are guessing they'll be out 60,000, 80,000. That's why I'm making this speech today.
But do you still think and there's others as well, obviously, with particularly large houses that might feel upset with this current scheme. I mean, do you accept, Pavan, that you're not going to get the government's not, the state's not going to pay 700,000 or 800,000 euro to replace your house? Are you still campaigning to have the state cover all those costs, or do you accept that you're going to have to?
No, I want the state to pay 100% because I'll tell you, Greg, I was up in Dublin on the 23rd of February with my fellow protesters. They were about 5 years. We met 4 or 5 different TDs and we asked the question, is the quarries going to be tested? No. We said, how are we going to be sure we're going to get a decent block? They said, they'll stop, declare. And I said, do you want a TD? So you're telling me I'll be back here in 20 years? He says, it's a possibility.
All right.
So how can the government say to me that, no, we're not going to pay you 700,000, yet the quarries can do whatever they want? So why should I be punished for the government making mistakes?
Understood.
And the civil service in Dublin need to cop themselves on that they're talking about taxpayers' money. It's all right for the government to let the quarries run without any tests. How is this possible, Greg?
All right, Pavan, listen, points well made. Thanks for your time this morning. I do appreciate it. Councillor Martin McDermott joined us midway through that conversation. Pavan says the sliding scale is still there, that we're being told 145 euro per square. It's per square foot, per square metre. He says builders are telling him 180, that there's going to be a big shortfall here. Would you agree with that? I can't hear you there. Are you muted, or is it my fault, I wonder? Right, no, that might be my fault. Just bear with me here. Can you hear me now, Martin? No? Right, okay. I'll tell you what I might do if it's okay. I might exit out and come back to you, Martin, if that's all right, because I think that might be a problem on my end. By the way, if you have questions, get them into us very quickly. 086 60 25,000. We'll try and get answers for you there. In the meantime, just I'll bring Martin back in again and hopefully he'll be able to hear us. As I say, 086 60 25,000. If you want to comment on what Pavan had to say, or indeed if you have your own questions. And as I say, we'll just try and get Martin back in. We might have to go to a phone line, but we'll see. Lots of your questions already coming in, of course. We might have to return this to this because our time might just be a wee bit short. I wonder, can we take that last break and then we have all our own time? No, we can't. All right. Right, some of the questions that are coming through, the types we're going to try and get answers for. What's being done about unfinished homes that cannot access the scheme? We're going to try and get an answer to that. In the case of an apartment building, who's responsible for checking that the apartment block has mic? That's another very legitimate question there. Another question that we'll be getting to, hopefully. Could you ask Martin what is taking place with the SI houses that are falling down with Mike? Let's see if you can hear us now. Can you hear me, Martin? Or can we hear you? No. Caroline, we might switch to the phone line on that one if that's okay. Just a slight technical issue there, which luckily enough we don't have too many of them. More questions that are going to come in. We're going to try and get any answers to. Has any foundations been tested and what's been the results? Another here coming in. What about Micah? I've done my house in the first redress scheme. When can I expect to get the 10% I had to pay returned to me? These are the types of questions in case they double up. Can you ask, another caller want to know, asking if he supports the scheme? Well, we'll find out in a moment. As I say, last call on the phone lines, 07491 25,000. We're going to take this quick break and then dedicate the end of the programme to these questions.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny. Stockists of a wide range of used passenger and commercial vehicles.
Electric Ireland customers don't need to do a thing to get Ireland's lowest standard unit rate. That's nothing. Zip? Zero. Because they're already on it. Electric Ireland. We're brighter together. Estimated annual bill €1,274 based on 24-hour residential electricity credit meter standard unit rates, including PSO levy and VAT. Published provider rates at 1st of January 2022, subject to change. For comparison, see electricireland.ie/lowest unit rate. T's and C's apply. See electricireland.ie.
Wet n Wild is your one-stop shop for water sports, stocking all the leading brands of wetsuits, bodyboards, kayaks, paddleboards, scuba, swimwear, dry robes, tow floats, UV protection, life jackets, sunglasses, buoyancy aids, picnic sets and cool boxes. So whether you're on, in or under the water this summer, Wet n Wild can keep you safe and looking good.
Why wait any longer for a change of scene? Why wait one more week for a world-class cocktail in a rooftop hot tub? Why wait another day for Art Deco elegance and live jazz? For a spa resort with a therapy menu as long as your arm? For dinner at a Michelin Guide recommended restaurant? Why put your next short break on the long finger when it's just a small step to a giant adventure in Northern Ireland? And you can book it now at discovernorthernireland.com. Travel advice and guidelines apply. Visit nidirect.gov.uk and check ahead with providers.
OK, now we can say good morning on the phone line to Martin McDermott. Hi, Martin.
Good morning, Greg.
Sorry about that there. Right, let's get to some questions. I was asking you, do you agree with Pavan there? €145 is not realistic. It's going to cost around about 180. Some builders are telling him.
Yeah, well, look, the SCSI done an independent review of the building costs, and they did, in that independent review, use surveyors, quantity surveyors here in this county to put that together. And that is the figures that they came up with. That is the figures that even some, surveyors and chartered surveyors that I would have even been talking to would have felt that were quite accurate to what today's figures are.
But obviously costs are increasing all the while.
Absolutely.
Is there flexibility in the scheme to increase that payment to match those costs?
Yeah, well, again, going to be built onto that is that this will change each year with the review of the SCSI, which does a review every year of costs. And that has been built on that will change. These costs will change in accordance with their review. So, look, yeah, certainly, I suppose there are still questions out there for people in relation to costs coming in, and costs are increasing every day, and that's something we're certainly going to have to keep an eye on over the next couple of months.
But you think today, if someone was ready to go, they could get a contractor on site that would build a house for €145 per square metre?
Yeah, well, the costs range from 145 to 168 euros a square foot for different types of houses and different size of houses. So there is quite a good proportion there. And look, certainly I think people's going to have to, put pressure on builders as well to try and meet that deadline.
Right.
I know there is a lot of pressure on builders at the minute with increasing costs.
Okay.
And the cost, as we know, is increasing every day. And I think that's something that we need to take up and have with the department as well.
All right, I'm sorry to move it along a wee bit, Martin. This is my fault, not your fault at all, right? But obviously, Pavan, his house is not far off $1 million to rebuild. There are other people with the very large houses. Is there ever going to be a scenario, do you believe, that the state will 100% cover the cost of rebuilding those homes?
Well, I suppose if you go back to the previous scheme, the cap was 275 after a lot of fighting and work with the department and work by the Mike Axer Group and the 100% redress. That has been changed up to 420, which is a substantial change from where it was this time last year. And I understand Pavan, and Pavan has done great work and promoting and pushing and trying to keep this on the agenda over the last year or more, and is still doing it every day. And absolutely, I understand where he is, and I think that's, there has to be questions yet, and there's a lot of negotiations and questions going on with the department as we speak.
But they're never going to cover the costs of
it's
these.
unlikely that the department
some people call them large houses, mansions, whatever. Okay.
To be honest, Greg,
in the case of an apartment building, who's responsible for checking that the apartment block has mica? Is it the individual apartment owners or is it the management company? There's 20 or 30 apartments in this block this caller's talking about.
Yeah, that has been a problem in the previous scheme. It's the responsibility of the owner of the apartment to get the test done. But there was a problem in relation to apartments where an apartment the roof and the outside block was actually part of the management company. When you bought the apartment, you just bought the sort of internal block and the inside of that apartment, and there was an issue with that with this scheme as we stand at the minute. That has been rectified now in the new scheme, and when the new scheme comes out, that will be rectified where people that are in apartments will be able to get their apartments remediated through the new scheme.
What's taking place with SI houses that are falling down with mica? What does the council intend to do with these houses?
Well, at the minute, the council have put a programme together to the department for SI houses and social housing, which is with them, which there's a new team set up within Donegal County Council, which is starting now. They're actually next week. The new team has been put together and has started their work. That team then will start the work on the social housing and to try and get the social housing moved and get it started within the next couple of months.
Look, I know you got caught up and we got caught up. We're going to have to come back to this if you can make yourself available, please. A lot of questions. Last question before 12. Can you explain why DCC have stopped processing all the Stage 1 applications and when they are likely to start issuing decisions on them again?
Yeah, well, to be clear, they haven't stopped processing Stage 1 applications. DCC are still processing Stage 1 applications and Stage 2 applications, and hopefully a number of the Stage 2 applications will be getting over the line over the next week or so. The Stage 1 applications that are in relation to IS 465 and meet IS 465 will be determined and put through the council. There are a situation where quite a number of the Stage 1 applications would have other deteriorated materials within them. Those until IS 465 is updated, until the National Standards Authority give us a straightforward answer as to how they are going to take those materials into consideration. I think it's the right decision for the engineers and the council to hold those applications and make sure that whatever remedial option is done to someone's house, it is the remedial option that's right for the homeowner, not a remedial option that's right for the department or the civil service or the council.
Councillor, listen,
it's right for the homeowner.
We're going to have to come back to this if that's all right, and we'll lock in a portion of time because there's so many questions. Caroline will discuss that with you. We'll return to that. Hopefully, I'd like to get back to that tomorrow. If that's possible, and answer all of your questions. I've got questions of my own also that I'd like to try and get some answers to. We're back tomorrow morning at 9. Stay tuned because John Breslin's coming up around the northwest, but at 12 noon it's time for your first news update of the afternoon. And good morning, Donald Kavanagh. Good afternoon, sorry, Donald.
Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon. A security alert on Derry's water